Live from Las Vegas, this is SmashBox TV's podcast number 132, and half of us are living large in Las Vegas at the moment. Johnny, how's it going?
Well, considering I've spent the last hour and a half tech shooting with you, I could have spent better. I could have spent my night a little bit better.
I could have been down at the blackjack table, so
You
I
could,
guess we all
well,
have our challenges here tonight, don't we?
then I saved you some money.
I don't know about that. Well, welcome everyone again. This is SmashBox TV's podcast number 132. I'm Terry Miller, the disc golf guy here in Las Vegas, currently at the Excalibur as we're all set up in our remote location for the studio. Johnny V's back in Milwaukee. Tonight, we're going to be welcoming, of course, Dana Vici to the show. Shortly after we catch up with Dynamite, we'll then welcome Pat Govang as he's going to give us more information about the next generation disc golf tour that is presented by Latitude 64. There may or may not even be a little sprinkling of some Yuli, along with a potential show from none other than Zoe Andike. I'm waiting for her to knock on the hotel room door here to crash the show at any point. So we'll see how things go, but we're excited you guys are here with us tonight on a Tuesday night. And Johnny, we got a pretty big week or two ahead of us here. I feel like things start today.
Yeah, with the podcast, things start today, and then tomorrow's kind of an off day for us, I would say. Oh, God, then Friday we begin all of our testing to make sure all of our stuff works. All weekend we're doing live broadcasting of the Gentlemen's Club Challenge. Then we got like 2 days off, where you travel and go to Arizona for another sunny vacation for you. And we begin with the Disc Golf Pro Tour Memorial.
Yeah, well, be careful how you throw that V word around. I don't know how much vacationing is going to be taking place, but I'm going to give everyone a follow-up to some of the ranting and rage tweeting I've done recently. Today, when I arrived in Las Vegas, we had a great flight on Southwest, hashtag Southwest Air, we love you. Then I got over to the rental car facility, and some of you saw the conversation taking place about thrifty rental. And thanks to a few direct messages and my pal Jessica over at corporate, they were actually able to fully recognize and adhere to the pricing that we had got back when I booked an original car in September. So thank you to Thrifty for what I feel like was making the situation right. I got a little bit worked up over the weekend at them, but seems like everything's good to go for right now. So far, so good. And also here at the Excalibur, it seems like everything was pretty smooth sailing. Looking forward to a pretty good week here in Vegas.
Yeah, it was really crazy with the rental car that we rented it months ahead of time. All we wanted to do was shorten it by 1 day.
On the front end,
on
not
the front
back
end.
end.
Yeah, so we wanted to pick up the car a day later. They wouldn't let us do that without canceling the reservation. And if they would have rebooked the reservation, it would have gone from, like, I think we were paying $250 to, I think you quoted us $2,200 for
No. Greater distance than that. It was originally estimated at $209 for like the 14 or 13 days I was going to have it. And by rebooking, they had to cancel our reservation and then rebook. It was going to then go up to $2,620.
So, well, I'm glad.
So $200 to $2,600.
It's a big difference.
Thankfully, everybody made things good over there at Thrifty. So, thanks for the customer service.
Well, for that much, you better be Ubering with that car for those off days.
That's not a bad idea.
Making up some cash.
See if we can pick up. Should I try and pick up some people along the side of the street here in Vegas? See if we can make a little extra money, or is that the route you think I should go?
I say you just pull up and look for someone that happens to be looking at their phone and just say, "I'm your Uber. Get in."
Yeah, or you need a ride, maybe if there's some guys or women walking by and just say, hey, can I interest you in a ride? We'll see if that works for me.
Well, it works because the car we rented is a windowless van, so there's nobody that's going to be suspicious about that.
So, all in all, things are off to a great start. We've got a new super duper cameraman that people are going to see this year. Chad Inman from Madison, Wisconsin. He's going to be joining the crew and just getting everything broken in here in the first few days. So we're really excited about it.
I am very excited. Should we get Dana on the line?
Let's get Dynamite Vici on the line and see what happened last weekend.
All right, let's add him to the call. Oh, gosh, it switched us around.
You hit those buttons.
I do. I do hit those buttons. Oh. Well, that's no fun. It said call failed.
Hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
bummer. Sorry, Dana.
I just asked him if he was ready. Hopefully he's on top of it.
It says.
He says, "Yeah, I'm on." So, Dana?
I don't know. We're not
Dana
getting
might.
we're not getting any Dana from this. Huh. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. He says that he's on.
It shows him online, but for whatever reason, it's just not it's not connecting. He can try to call us. I don't know.
All right. Well, we continue to get that figured out. What I have been seeing is a number of people saying that they're just getting into town. I saw, literally dozens of Facebook updates, a few tweets, a few Instagrams about people saying one more day and then I'm in Vegas, or I'm taking off already, or I'll be showing up there this time tomorrow or today, or whatever the case was. I've only been here for 3 or 4 hours, but I've yet to run into any of the golfers. Maybe we'll find some of them out on the strip at some point tonight. I guess it's a touristy area, maybe some would say.
Over by where you're at? I honestly I don't know. I've never been to Vegas. I heard it was. Yeah. I heard it was pastures. There's lots and lots of pastures. You know why anyone wants to go to the desert.
All right. Let's see if I can do.
Skype group call is always a little goofy.
Dana says he does not see us calling him. He says he's shutting down Skype and restarting, and that he'll be back with us here shortly.
Well, I hope it's on his side, because we literally just got off the phone with our next guest, who we're going to have on after Dana, with Pat Govang, doing some testing, and everything seemed to work just fine. So
exactly.
Could be on Dana's side. But so this week we have the Gentlemen's Club Challenge out at the that's at the Wild Horse. Is that correct?
Wild Horse, yeah, at the Wild Horse Golf Course. I'm excited. We're going to actually go check it out tomorrow. This will be my first time. I know that there's 3 different courses out there. I also know that the PDGA summit of sorts has been taking place, but I haven't seen or heard of any details. I know I actually sent out a message earlier today. I'd like to know, maybe for all I know it's completed, or it's maybe still going on tomorrow. I'm not really sure. One of the exciting things that I had recently heard, I think that was maybe even last week, is that I think they've narrowed it down to 4 different candidates for becoming our next PDGA executive director. And I know interviews, I believe final interviews were taking place here at some point during this spring summit here in Vegas. So maybe we'll know sometimes a little bit later or sometime soon as to who our next executive director is going to be.
Okay, Terry, what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to hang up with you, and I'm going to call you both back because it could be an issue with that. So I will be...
Right, stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back in 1 second here.
All right, now it's just me. We don't have to listen to that guy. So, yeah, sorry about that. We are clearly just having... we're going to give Dana a call first. All right, so now we got Dana on the line. Now let's add Terry to the call. All right, sometimes Skype gets goofy when you've got multiple people on calls and then you hang up with one of them. It forces you to do some weird stuff. So Terry, we got you. We are back. We got Dana. He's here. The crew's together. We got the crew back together.
What's up, one way or another. Took a little bit of work.
Jeez, first time?
There's it's not Smashbox unless we have a problem every other week.
Now, Johnny, you're not going to be pulling this on us come Thursday, are you? I want to see every shot from Philo, Simon, Eagle, and Rick. Every shot, every commercial clean cut.
On Thursday, sit down at your computer, turn it on, and wait until Saturday when we go live.
Wait, is this breaking news?
No,
I haven't been paying attention. Oh,
no,
you're only going live Saturday.
We're going live Saturday and Sunday. That's what we're doing.
Why is Terry in Vegas already?
I am testing. What do you think?
Let me guess. He's on SmashBoxx's dime too.
Of course he is.
Rolling large.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
rolling large with the with our credit card.
I
know. Tell me about it.
Couldn't afford to bring me out to commentate, but here he is a week ahead of time, gambling, drinking, fake Ubering.
Yeah, exactly. Fake Ubering.
I'm here to make money, buddy. By working fake Uber.
Barely. We barely. So, anyway, so Dana, what do you got going on? What's going on with events? The reason we bring you on is to talk about events that have happened and maybe get a little insight into events that are about to happen. What do you got for me?
All right. You can tell the season is getting closer. There's more and more events popping up each weekend. There's a number of B tiers this weekend all over the world. We're going to start out on the left coast, out in California. I actually got a couple events to talk about, but starting in Seaside at the CSUMB Otter Open. Taking this one down, he's no stranger to the winner's circle in 2017, Lewis Bitney. He had himself a nice comeback final round to net himself the victory, and that's at least his second, maybe third win on the year. So pretty good shooting by Lewis. He's now 1,000 rated. I think it took him a little bit to get to that 1,000 mark, but he's a good player for a long time, and now that he's hit it, it seems like he's really found his stride. And as I said a few weeks ago, keep an eye out for him because it looks like he's going to be playing a bunch of upcoming events. Getting back into the winner's circle for the first time in quite a while because she was injured most of last year, Jessica Weiss. And Jessica came out and played some really good disc golf. Pretty solid, 929, 914, 917, and she won by a bunch of throws, 15 throws, I think. So kind of just coasted, and nice entry back into the tournament scene. But finishing second was Amanda Zacconi, and third, Sarah Amaya. But Jessica Weiss, back at it, getting a victory. She's heading back to Vegas where she won last year. I'm wondering how many shots we're going to see Jessica throw with her offhand, which is her left hand. She was a forehand predominant player prior to the injury. I believe a shoulder injury or arm injury of sorts. But I know that she played left-handed for a lot of the year last year, just casually at home. And I saw some videos, and her left hand was very smooth. So she can throw with both hands now. That's not even fair. You know. But the thing is, she had a really great forehand, and now she's got the lefty backhand that seems pretty smooth as well. So it'll be interesting to see if she reaches in the bag and pulls out a disc left-handed and then throws it left-handed. I'm looking forward to finding out and seeing her back in the ring with all these other female competitors at the upcoming NT. Yeah, I'm excited because she won this event last year. Is that correct? Yes, she won last year. Yep. And I think this was last year. That was one of her last events before officially shutting it down. It looks like she did play a few more. Let me see. Yeah, she ended up playing the Memorial, and that was her last event of the year. So she went Gentlemen's Club and Memorial, and that's all she wrote, unfortunately. But she did win, as we both have said, last year. Beat a 9-person women's field, where this coming weekend the field is much bigger, much stronger. See if I can pull that up. I think it's like 36 or 37 women are signed up. So huge women's field. Now, I want to back up for one quick second, Dana. Do you think we'll see Jessica actually throw opposite-handed when she's got one of the best forehands in the game, male or female? Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at is, she has this super strong right hand forehand, and then, having the lefty shot in her back pocket as well. It almost would seem, if she's actually healthy, it'd be kind of interesting to see her bust out the lefty backhand, but you never know. Maybe she gained some confidence playing all those months last year with it. As I said, she posts some videos periodically, and the lefty looked really smooth.
All right. Well, it will be exciting to see.
Let's go. Let's set the. I wonder if there's going to be any video of her round, because it'd be fun to set an over/under on how many left-hand shots she throws. Let's go ahead and we can always ask her at the end of the event.
At the end of the event, we'll ask her, or I'm sure Terry will see her at the Memorial. We can talk to her then.
Yeah, what do you guys think? What's a number we should set it, the over/under?
I haven't been out to the course yet, to the courses here to look, but
6.
I bet you she doesn't throw 3 times left-handed.
All right, so Johnny thinks over/unders. All right, so let's call the over/under 4. We'll call it a straight 4.
I'll take the over on that.
Johnny's got the over. Terry's got the under.
Or you say the way you do it, you say 4.5, so that nobody can get it, and then I'll take the over on that because I think she'll do 5 or 6. Terry can take the under.
I'll take the under as well. We're setting at 4.5 smashies. Get your guesses in as well, and we will make sure. Maybe Terry, you can do a mini vlog, mini little chat with her about her game or a comeback, and that could be a question that you ask her. Boom.
Okay. Again, why you're not out here and I am is beyond me. So thank you. I agree.
Call me, Dana. We'll get that switched up.
Yeah. All right, let's keep talking about some upcoming events. We can talk a little bit more about Gentlemen's Club. I want to jump over to Spain. The Open de España. Looks like the second annual. 73 players. It was a B tier. And KJ, Carl Johan Nybo, took the trip over and got himself a victory. Looks like he was actually going into the finals after 3 rounds. He was down to Martin Rotmeister by a couple strokes, and then beat him by 7 during the finals, and got himself a 5. Or actually, you know what? Maybe he was winning. Maybe my math is off. But anyways, KJ won. He opened up with a 1065 rated round, and then his finals round unofficially rated at a 1053. So started and finished really strong, and then had a couple sub-1,000 rated rounds in between. But KJ, is he coming over to the U.S. here? Or he'll be at the Memorial.
He is, and I know firsthand because I was leaving, I believe, when I was going to Alabama or so a month ago, and KJ had posted and said something's wrong. It won't take my payment. He was having issues on Disc Golf Scene, and I was literally about to take off on my plane, and I jumped online and I signed him up for the Memorial, put in all his information, and just put him in, and then said, "All right, you just owe me your entry fee back sometime." And we got it all squared away. So yeah, he'll be here for the Memorial. I just had to give a little assist on getting him in.
Has he paid you back?
He paid me back within a day or two, or within that day.
In U.S. dollars,
in Danish. I don't know what those are, but yeah, he paid me back. All good.
Yeah. Hey, KJ's he's an exciting player. We've seen him mostly on the World Tour this last year. Got to see a lot of video of him. He had a couple close brushes with wins. Wasn't able to pull one off. Looks like he's got a nice warm-up going into the Memorial. He might be a person that we could see on Smashbox. What do you guys think?
For sure. And for those who haven't met him or had the chance to see him or be around him, he's just such a kind, soft, just all-around gentleman in so many ways. And he reminds me of that. I kind of put him in the same regard that you see like a Steve Brinster, where you know he could show up and absolutely win any and every tournament he attends, and it's just a matter of is he going to strike? Is he going to get hot? and can he maintain it for a whole weekend? Because he can put up a hot round with the best of them. Can he maintain that hot round? And he becomes, I'll say, like a Steve Brinster. I'm not picking on Steve, but almost a forgotten face, a great, amazing player, but not one that we talk about week in and week out. And
both him and
is
Steve.
that dark horse? Is that kind of the unofficial term for him?
It's hard to call him a dark horse. I feel like with him being so front and center on the World Tour last year, maybe if you said last year, dark horse, but I think that he was just out and about so much last year and having pretty good success being up there towards the top and fighting, for a win. Be tough to call him a dark horse, but him and Steve both have families and kids at home. I'm not sure how many KJ has. I know he has at least one. I want to say maybe two.
In each country over there or something. I don't know. No.
But anyways, yeah, he's definitely someone to look for. And as you said, it's just a matter of staying hot the whole time versus a couple hot rounds and then maybe one, closer to 1,000 rated.
Okay.
Memorial is gonna take two 1090 rated rounds and then maybe a 1050 thrown in.
For sure. That's what we've seen in the past, and everybody's always complained that the ratings for Memorial are always inflated, but it's just that course requires almost perfect play to win.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and I want to just be very crystal clear. In no way do I think someone like a Steve Brinster in any way was I second-guessing any of his skill sets. In fact, just the opposite. It's just when you don't see them every weekend, when you don't see them on tour as much as, a Macbeth and a Shoestrick and all of our other regular touring players, I think sometimes their names aren't on the tip of our tongue. And then
sure.
I think it's great because, Dana, for someone like you or me or Johnny, when you see a KJ sitting in 5th place after round 1, or maybe he's in 3rd place or whatever, leading the tournament, whatever, you and I or the three of us could look at each other and be like, yeah, okay, no big deal. But plenty of other viewers out there are going to be like, who's this KJ guy? And it's like, well, if you know that's not really surprising. So, Dana, real quick, can you speak to any of KJ's, we'll say, training routine or regimen? Are you familiar with how he does things?
Yeah,
it's
definitely
pretty unique. Explain it for everyone.
Yeah, KJ takes tournament prep very, very seriously. He likes to get to the course very early, a week advance, definitely as early as possible. Sometimes maybe a week isn't, all that feasible for him traveling over here to the U.S. But for the most part, KJ plans on getting to a tournament and playing the course over and over and over, and he takes notes. He's got a little notebook that he carries around with him. A lot of times he'll have his caddy with him, and discussing notes, how he's going to attack holes. But basically, he has his whole round mapped out in his notebook. And sometimes, day before the event, you might see him just walking around the course with a couple T-birds and maybe a rock, where he's going to a hole where he wants to figure out how he's going to attack it, because that was one in his notebook that he might have had some issues with during the week. Is there anything in between there that I'm missing?
No, it's just very meticulous, and I think that's awesome to see. And it's just a very unique strategy. And we see a lot of players, a Will Shoestrick, a Ricky Wysocki may say, I played 19 rounds, or I played 9 rounds here in the last 7 days. Think of an Eagle McMahon, the young gun with the arm that doesn't seem to quit, who's was in Australia playing all of those rounds of golf before the tournament. And yet KJ's out there, but he's really studying and note taking in a very literal way with pen and paper, and that's kind of something you just don't see that often.
Yeah, you might see him on the same holes. I can remember at La Mirada last year running into him. He had been there for a while practicing and getting his game plan together, and he was just hanging out on hole 16, throwing it over and over, walking down, walking back. and the same couple discs, and then I saw he had the aha. He hit it, and he's like, "That's the one," and that was it. I got to witness it, but it's pretty cool, and yeah, I'd be interested to see if we see some more players taking up the KJ approach. Seeing how successful it has been for him. But I guess it's a matter of, that's his process. He's dedicated to it. Ricky has his process. He's dedicated to it, and it's up to us as players, or these pros as players, to figure out what works best for them. But definitely cool to see him wandering around with his notepad.
All right. Well, and as we move off of KJ, I'm sure we'll talk to him and see him a little later this week. K2OS on YouTube has actually rounded up a questionnaire, and he's doing what's going to be an Ask Me Anything of KJ. He's going to release a separate video of it. So we can hold off on any other further explanations, because he's going to be doing a great in-depth video that's out there. So if you have a question for KJ Nybo, just go out there, find that. I think I sent out a link the other day, and there'll be an entire video dedicated to it. So got a little bit for everybody here.
Cool. All right, back to some of last weekend's events. We had the 39th annual Wintertime Open. Johnny, what course was this at, and why is this important? Or why is this course
I literally
important?
just opened up the PDGA thing, and I'm not gonna look at it. Is this?
I'll give you a hint, Johnny. I've played there.
That doesn't help me out at all.
It's in Pasadena.
December of 2012, I played there.
Oh, it's actually not. It's Altadena, by the way.
Whatever.
Whatever.
It doesn't actually say the course on here. I have no clue what the course is, but I think this is like the 39th time in a row Paul McBeth has won. I don't know.
Before we get to that, thanks for the spoiler alert too, man. Jeez. Terry, what's up with this course?
It's by most accounts, I mean, it's always going to be argued, but by pretty much everyone's account, this is considered the first disc golf course in the country out there near Pasadena. There's a disc golf basket that's still mounted there. I think they call it Iron Maiden? Is that the term for it? For the tournament, it's certainly altered from what they've seen, and they stretch some certain things out and whatnot. But as Johnny was mentioning, Steve Rico was playing in his 30th consecutive, playing in it for the 30th consecutive year. And it's a very historical course. A lot of people talk about it. A lot of people kind of make a voyage, or make sure that they pay their homage to being there, because it's a pretty significant course for a lot of reasons. Right in California.
Yeah, I've yet to play it. It's on my bucket list, and just California traffic. Every time I've been out there, it's like, do I really want to drive over there? And
I didn't realize it was. I didn't realize it was at Oak Grove. Had you told me Oak Grove, clearly I know the history of it. But
the board is blowing up. Everyone's making sure you get the OG out there.
That's right.
Oak Grove, clearly the original, as so many refer to it.
And Terry, did you say how many times has Steve Rico played this event?
Steve Rico has now competed in this event for 30 consecutive years. That's what he had posted on Facebook. But I also knew that some of you guys are privy to knowing that I had a really good sit-down interview with Steve a little more than a few weeks ago, and we got really in-depth about a lot of topics, and this is one of the topics that had come up, and I'm not going to talk about all of it, but knowing that this is one of his long-standing events, something that's very near and dear to him, and if you do the math, Steve Rico's birthday is January 1st. I think he just turned 38 or so. So that tells you something if that's his 30th consecutive time playing in this event.
That's incredible.
It is.
Really?
And I thought my Ice Bowl run at 23 in a row was something special, and it feels special to me considering I'm 39. But to know that Steve Rico's played in this event for 30 consecutive years says a lot.
Wow. Very cool stuff. So as Johnny spilled the beans to earlier, Paul McBeth did win for the 6th time in a row. He did lead wire to wire. he was challenged by one of my favorite smashies out there, the disc
Rob
golf
Knight?
boy, AJ Risley. AJ came out playing some really good disc golf. Not as good as Macbeth, but he played pretty good and made the finals along with Seppo Paju. And Seppo finished in second. AJ finished in third place. So might as well round it out. Finishing in fourth place was Steve Rico, and he tied with Philo. But great shooting to AJ. Pretty good start to the full tour, full-time tour, or whatever he is calling it this year. We'll have to hear from AJ to get the official tour name, but AJ is going to be out on tour all year long. And if he plays like this, he's going to get disc golf rich. Plays like this all year.
Well, yeah. It makes touring a lot more fun when you're winning and not having to scrape by every single weekend. That's for sure. And anytime you can take out Steve Rico at this event, I mean, Philo's one thing, but taking out Stevie at this event, that's something I would. The guy who's his that's his manufacturer. That's a sponsor's owner right there. That's Legacy's owner. So I'd watch my back, AJ.
AJ so conveniently has found himself on the chat board here for all those around. So congratulations on some great shooting out there this weekend, AJ. $315 for his efforts.
Making it rain in Vegas.
How does that sound when we do talk about, and this again is of course no slight on the event, because the event is by everyone's account awesome. But knowing that Paul Macbeth winning $600, that may be one of the least amounts that he wins at any event this year. It is, of course, a solid event. It's a B tier with 38 open players, so there's no questioning on the payouts or anything. But that might be one of the least amounts that Paul wins at any point this year.
Yeah, he's not going to play many things less than an A tier this year.
Yep.
So. Very interesting. What do we see on anything interesting or crazy on the women's side? Vanessa Van Dyken looks like I think we saw that Aaron White, who's a great promoter and ambassador for the sport. I think I saw that she mentioned she may have had to pull out due to a foot or an ankle injury of some sort. So it looks like she wasn't able to complete. But Vanessa Van Dyken, who is, I believe, dating Seppu Paju. And when I talked to Seppu a few weeks ago in Arizona, he said that it seemed like his home for the foreseeable future, and that may just mean this year, but would be headquartered out of San Diego, where, in fact, Vanessa's from. So we're going to see a lot more Seppu on tour this year.
That's kind of big news.
Vanessa. Yeah, it's very cool.
And I'm sure I'm sure a lot of people were seeing him play for the first time on the Central Coast video from round 2 at the event. But Seppo's a really good player, and he can throw far. He's got a great putt. His family runs Prodigy Disc Europe, so it's gonna be cool to see him over here in the U.S. Playing a lot more this year. If that's the case, does look. I'm checking out Vanessa's PDGA. 62325. What year did Vanessa win Worlds? Didn't she win World?
Yeah, that was 2014. Smashbox was there covering the first ever Am Worlds live. No shameless plug there, but yeah, 2014 is when she took that title home. So, and she spent most of last year overseas, I believe. So. It'll be exciting to see them touring around, playing here in the U.S. And Dana, you mentioned a moment ago about Seppo not just throwing far and his putt. If anybody wants to ever wonder or questions in any way, shape, or form how good of a putter Seppo is, go and consume, and I'm not just saying this because I shot the video, but go consume the 27 holes that wrapped up the Maricopa Meadows event. It was disgusting how good of a putter Seppu, and he talks about it at the end about his training and his practicing. And if you want to see some solid putting, check out that 27-hole final round. It was amazing.
Yeah, I haven't checked that out yet. We can find that on your channel.
Yes. golf guy. Yes.
Shameless plug. Yeah, look forward to checking out. He's a kind of a spin Annie putter at the moment, right?
No, definitely a spin putter, but not so much Annie.
Okay.
Very, very direct. Very, yeah. It's unique. It sounds like he feels like he switched it up a little bit, and very effective.
Okay.
So, as we talk about him playing in playing this weekend, taking second, Disc Golf Boy taking third. What about the difference between first and second? I mean, what did Paul play 9 less holes or what? Like, look at that scoring difference between or
Yeah.
amongst them. Is that not incredible? Is that
Yep.
back to classic Macbeth?
Well, this is what he does at the Wintertime Open. He comes and he just shreds that tournament. It was a 3-round tournament with the finals. He went 1064, 1041, 1062, and then in the finals, which will not get rated, but they say 1067. So definitely some great playing by Macbeth. Although I don't think he eagled that one hole that he seems to that I see him eagle every single year. That was kind of weak by him. Calling you out, Paul. What's up? Couldn't get it. But yeah, he absolutely shredded, and it's going to be. I'm giving him a pass for the Australian Open, even though he still shot really well there, but with the travel issues and everything, now that he's back home, and I got to assume he's on his regular schedule for Gentlemen's Club and the Memorial, that he's gonna be rip roaring ready to go. So it's gonna be exciting.
Dana, do you think that the next 2 weeks we're going to see 1-2 go Paul Ricky or Ricky Paul?
I'd say that there's a I'm gonna say there's a 50% chance that happens. That I'll give the field the rest of the
Ricky and Paul versus the field. Ooh, I know which side, if I'm in Vegas, I'm taking. I'm going to take the Ricky Paul side.
You're gonna take the Ricky Paul side. What about you, Terry?
That you said both weekends we see
Both
them
weekends we see them go
in any order. 1-2.
We see them go 1-2 in any order.
I think there is just too many opportunities that I know of, at least in the Memorial, for some dynamic swings and changes, and if you're not shooting lights out at Fountain, you're getting left behind. Or a 12 down and you lose 2 or 3 to the field. I would go and I would take the house on that. I do not think you're going to see them necessarily go 1-2 both weekends. I think at least at the Memorial, and I can't speak for the Gentlemen's Club layouts and details, but at the Memorial, there's just way too many things that can happen. I mean, look, a few years ago we had Big Germ not go out of bounds in 72 holes.
That's tough.
I would have loved to know the Vegas odds on that ever happening. So,
and we all know that Ricky has said that he does not play the Memorial well.
I was just about to say last year he finished in 6th place. In 2015, 6th place. This is at the Memorial. 2014, Ricky finished in 12th place. So his track record is not all that great there, but
for Ricky standards, we're saying.
Yeah,
I don't want anyone to jump on us like 6, 6, and 12 is bad. But we're talking what Ricky holds himself to.
2013, he did get. Or no, that's the Memorial warm up. 5th place he got in 2013, and I'll give you 2012 for good measure. And I just had a mosquito fly by. If anyone. I don't know if anyone saw me swatting at it, but yes, mosquitoes in February. That's what we're dealing with. 12th place again in 2012. I think I actually played with him around that year at the end. But so yeah, Ricky, not the best track record, but in the same breath, he's coming off a huge win in Australia, and then obviously the great year last year. I'd say it's a different story with how he where he's at. So that'll be something exciting to watch, and maybe Terry, maybe you can talk to him about it.
We certainly will, and I think one of the conversations that always comes about is when people are, so to speak, and they're on their home turf or playing in places they're very comfortable with, sometimes too comfortable with, and that could be said of whether it's a Dave Felberg here or a Ricky. Sometimes that people overplay that, and I think we've talked about that before on the show. And people are saying out here, what about Philo and what we saw from him last year, and we had a great conversation with Philo last week. Dana, it was after you were with us. You're an avid watcher of disc golf when you're not out there competing. What'd you think of the hashtag Faster Philo? About the speed of play that we might see from him this year, and is that going to be a big game changer for him, or maybe even others that are used to playing with him?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. No disrespect to Philo. As he mentioned last week on the show, he's been deliberate and going through, with decision making, and it sounds like he's got himself to a place where he's going to be playing quicker. But if you saw Philo on your card, you knew that the backups were going to be shorter, or there might not be backups, or if you were behind him, things might move a little bit slower. And that was just because he, as everyone, or not everyone, but as a lot of people have seen over the years, he has taken his time. So maybe he won't be that person anymore. We shall see.
We shall. Well, we're excited to see it, and Philo's got big shoes to fill, and and to quote Macbeth, he says he doesn't feel like a champion of an event, so to speak, until he's defended his title. That's when he really feels that he's done his job, and Philo's going to be up to that challenge with a lot of people coming after him this weekend. Last year, the field wasn't quite as stiff as it's going to be this year. And so a lot of people are going to be coming after him and trying to get that first national tour event of the year. So having the national tour open in Vegas as opposed to the Memorial, as it's done for so many years, are going to change up a few jitters and a little bit of the way the season opens here. And it's definitely going to be exciting.
Yeah, and to go back on last week's interview with Philo, that was entertaining. He, aside from his internet issues. Philo's he's an entertaining person, a good, great speaker, and I enjoyed it, and hopefully, can get him back on the show later this year to check in on his tour. As he said, he's going to be out there full time, and in another round some RV. What is his RV?
First radios round at another time. Something like that. They're the number one podcast in disc golf. So if you just get that straight, they've told us that they are. If you get that straight, then you'll know where to find them.
Oh, I got the mosquito, by the way.
Good. I feel like swatting things too. All right. So, Dynamite, you got anything else for us? Any major picks or anything that that we should be looking out for this weekend? You gave me a couple of assignments already. I think I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch what they were. Talking to Jessica, I know that was one of them. But any other things that we should be looking out for this week?
Man, it's just gonna be exciting. I think these courses, it's gonna be a lot of fun for the viewers. I know there's been a few videos from the past few years of Vegas, but some of them are from the old course, Sunset Park, but now playing 3 courses. It's going to be fun to see the players play 3 different courses, and there's a number of video crews out there, and then of course the live broadcast. I'm actually, I hate to say it, but maybe I'm kind of hoping for rain. On that day, so I don't feel bad sitting in watching. I'm definitely planning on watching and maybe doing some live tweeting or I don't know, something. I want to be in. I want to be in on the action. I've got.
If you want to get in on some hot action, go to Fantasy Disc Golf, pick up some. Go to Yuli's pick, see if you can beat that guy.
If I get another spam email from skipace.com, I'm gonna lose it.
They're not spam; those are legitimate messages and information. And
yeah,
I'll try to find the guy who sends those out.
Yeah. Is it from Johnny V, the Nigerian prince? Is he sending you messages?
Well,
Yeah, I gave him my credit card number.
That's a good idea.
Good.
Everybody
Good.
should.
Yep, everybody should just give their credit card. All right, Dana, we appreciate it. We'll look forward to talking throughout the week. I'll probably have some more stories for you. And if you see or hear of anything that you think I need to hunt down, make sure you let me know. But as you said, I'm out here a little bit early, excited to take it all in. It's going to be kind of odd taking in the Gulf for 2 days before going live. Typically on almost all of our live broadcasts, we're opening the tournament, as soon as the tournament starts. Yeah. This time, we're not coming in till Saturday. We're going to give you the final 2 rounds, but it should be very exciting and a lot of good stuff for everyone to consume.
Now, have you got the okay from
Yes. Whatever you say.
Can you go out and shoot some film first couple days? Did you get your okay?
Here, I'll give a little PSA for everyone, which is the Gentlemen's Club Challenge has a very strict media policy. So if anyone's going to go out to the course in any capacity, no matter how large or small your channel or your blog or your live Facebook or whatever those are, there are social media policies as well as recording policies and all sorts of things. So make sure you adhere and check in with those. You can find them all online for the event, I think. Yeah, and you're not going to see a lot of content from me probably the first 2 days before we do go live. I'll be out there consuming it for myself, but you won't see a lot of content coming from me more than likely. So if anyone else wants to come out here, make sure you're playing by all the right rules and you know what the rules are.
So what are the rules? Could you go do Facebook Live?
I would doubt it. Honestly, I'd have to review the policies, but I don't believe that I could. But I guess
How do you feel? You feel good about this, right?
How do I feel good about it? Is that the question?
Yeah, I mean, like, what, do you want it to be a free for all, or do you want regulation? What's the?
I feel like at all events there needs to be a central point of contact, and there needs to be some form of guidelines and regulations in place, and that's only fair because this isn't a free-for-all. Innova put up a ton of money. This is a PDGA National Tour event, and there needs to be some guidelines in place. Do I love or agree with every one of them? Probably not. I'd have to review them again. But I have a different perspective than the guy who just bought his first camera last week versus, another camera crew who's maybe been around for 10 years and isn't welcome. Everybody at their different stage of disc golf media will probably react to these policies differently. Me, I understand them. I may or may not love them all, but I also realize there's events that we go to as SmashBoxx or the Disc Golf Guy where we have some form of circumstances, different set of circumstances that may be more beneficial to us than some other crew. So if that's the most PC politician way I can answer that, I think I've succeeded. So.
Okay. Well,
it's good overall. Short answer, it's good overall.
I'm going to give my picks real quick since that one guy's hasn't been on. Going with Eagle, Ricky, and Paul tied for second. Nico.
Wow.
And who's my fifth? Drew Gibson. That's my order.
Wait, Ricky, Nico, and Paul tied for second.
No, so Eagle first.
Okay.
Ricky and Paul tied for second. And then fourth place, Nico. Fifth place, what's his name? Drew Gibson.
How many times did Paul and Ricky tie in 2016?
0. Right?
I don't know. I was really asking. I think it's 0.
I think it's 0.
I was going to say.
Well, I mean, you.
Beaver State was the only one that came to mind, but that
just
was
like
not,
Skip Ace rules, Dana. Who do you have picking for FPO? Who's taking that down?
Oh yeah. Thank you, Johnny. Man, I think it's going to be a battle between Katrina and Paige, and it's gonna come down to the last 3 holes, and they're gonna tie.
Okay, well then I think you and I both know, or we all know, there has to be a tiebreaker. There have to be a
Yeah.
sudden death playoff.
Well, I think Kat won the last one, so I'll give Paige this one. But
Some
I
would
think
say that Paige gave Kat this. No, that was the memorial.
Memorial.
Okay.
missed the putt, but no, that I was talking about the playoff at the Beaver State thing, which
Yep.
I think Terry, you got that putt that Kat hit for the win. I think
Which
that
was amazing.
this time Paige will get the best of them, and we'll see Holcomb up top, and I think, I think it'll be either Weiss or Madison rounding out the lead card. Madison's been playing pretty good, and Jessica is, I think she got that event under her belt last weekend and is ready to start smashing again.
Okay. Pun intended. Right here on SmashBox TV. All right, buddy. We appreciate it. We wish you were here.
All right. We'll see you. Thanks.
All right. Have a good night, Dana.
Later.
All right. And, of course, our weekly updates from Dana Vici. Thank you, Dana, for giving us the stats and scores that we saw from last weekend. As many of us will tell you, we really know that the wintertime has now become kind of the official kickoff. We used to say that about Vegas, and then the wintertime, we saw that continue. I mean, it's obviously been going on for a number of years, but we're seeing some bigger and bigger names go there, usually get a little bit warmed up, and then everyone filters over to either Phoenix and or Vegas, and this year we're going to be here in Vegas. So should be pretty good to see how everyone comes into town and gets ready for the courses out here at Wild Horse. In just a few moments, we're going to have Pat Govang from the Next Generation Disc Golf Tour. He's going to join us. We've been talking a lot about the Next Gen Tour and all the things that they have going on. They're giving away a car. There's a contest. There's 150,000 events taking place with $3 million in payout. There's a lot of stuff going on. And Pat's got some details for us tonight. And I know that the website was announced and talked about last week, and I think they even have more tweaks and some more updates for us here this week. So, Johnny, whenever you're ready, if we can dial up Pat.
All right.
More info from him.
You know what I'm just going to do? Just like I did with Dana, I think I'm going to hang up your call, and I'm going to call you both back, just to make sure we're safe.
All right.
All right, I'll be right back.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Once again, we finally got rid of Terry, so we're going to make that call here. All right, we're ringing up Pat right now, and then as soon as Pat gets on the line, I will, as soon as he answers the phone, I will dial Terry up. I will add Terry to the call. All right, so now I just need to make sure Pat sends his video to us, and I think we'll be set. So I got Terry back on the line. Now we're just waiting for Pat to send his video. Pat, do you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right. Can you click the... there you go.
There we go.
All right. So we're back. We've got Pat and Terry and myself. Now we're all good to go.
Welcome to the
guys.
show, Pat. We've been... your ears have probably been ringing. We've been talking about you and all the amazing work you're doing behind the scenes with the Next Generation Tour. So welcome to the show, first and foremost.
Yeah, thanks.
And secondly, for some of those who aren't maybe as old school as maybe Johnny and I are, maybe getting old, Johnny. Give us a quick, give us a little bit of your background and your history with the sport for those that might not know.
Quickly got involved in the sport in 2000. Got involved in running the first Pro-Am Combined Worlds. We had 800 competitors in Michigan there, and directly after that event, I was invited to join the PDGA board. And we went through, the PDGA was undergoing a lot of change at that time. And part of what we did was we wrote something called the Transformation Plan, which basically became the blueprint for today's PDGA. And out of that came the PDGA Majors and the National Tour and a number of other underpinnings and different ways that the PDGA did business.
Okay, well, so you've been, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, no,
I was just going to say, you've been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work that, as you just mentioned, and this year, and I'm sure it started earlier than just a few weeks ago for you guys, obviously, but this year you're taking on quite a task of helping organize and put together the infrastructure for this very elaborate and very massive next generation tour.
Yeah, it seems pretty large, but we tried to keep it as actually pretty simple in what we're doing, and we've got a great team of folks around the country that'll be running the qualifier events. And this came out of conversations that I've had with Dave Fehlberg for quite a while around what was Dave going to do as his career professionally was coming to a close, and I was intrigued by the thought of seeing our pros come up through the sport and go on and have the ability to make a living in the sport after they're done playing. And that was neat to me, as well as the opportunity within just the growth of the sport to explore a different payout model with what we're doing, and kind of embrace the organic payout model that grew the sport through the 90s and into the 2000s, and put it out there and see if just take a different approach with it. And really a lot of what we're doing is also putting together a new approach to bring in new sponsors into the sport as well.
Well, and that's I was going to say, that was one of the many exciting things that we talk about regarding the tour that you guys are working on, is that there's so much more outside of disc golf, and Latitude 64 is of course doing amazing things and I'll say dumping or pouring a lot of energies and efforts and money into it. But we've all said it for countless years. We need fresh blood and we need new sponsors to come to us from outside the sport. And that's something that you guys believe, that you guys really believe in that model.
Yeah, I think we when we put together the original national tour, that was around putting together a package of events around the country that we could get that we could attract sponsors to, and started going down that path. And I think with today, the reach of the sport is so much broader than just the events itself. By advertising through our partners with Disc Golf Pro Tour and Disc Golf Course Review, we could put together packages that made sense to sponsors to get on board. And some were testing the water, some we talked to are we're gonna bring in next year. Just gonna sit back and watch how we do things this year. But that's been a fun part of just approaching companies and just having a different way of bringing in products and exposing them to a more focused demographic in our sport as well. So when you look at the amateurs players, those are it's a demographic that kind of fuels the growth of the sport as well.
Well, last week, some people remember, Dana brought it up. I kind of went off on a rant, tangent, well, yeah, we'll call it tangent, about how spoiled some events and or players can be, or how much does get poured into the sport. Again, usually coming from inside the sport manufacturers. I was specifically at the time referring to the insane payout that the Ledgestone event is going to, again, projecting for this year, and even at the amateur level. Do you see our disc golf somewhat transitioning into more of the model we see in a lot of other amateur sports, which is, here's your player pack or your participation pack, thank you for coming, here's a good spread of stuff, and maybe not focusing as much on you took 23rd out of 69, so you still get $15 in funny money. Do you see us kind of transitioning with whether it's the payouts or the participation packs?
I
and
think
does that matter for the growth of the sport?
Yeah, I think within the growth, you're going to see all flavors. And as long as there are people that are out there that will support them moving towards trophy only, we've seen that. And as earlier, I think the payout, the amateur payout model, really fueled the grassroots growth of the sport, and it's kind of unique to us. And so we just kind of said, well, let's see what we can do with it, and do something unique and different, but and kind of embrace that spirit of payback to the players.
Yeah, you guys went double or triple down, so to speak, and even bigger, and said, well, let's give it out a car
Yeah.
as our winner. But I mean, when you really piece it together and you think about the players that will participate in their local events, the regional qualifier, the overall finals, and the travel and everything else that goes into it, I don't want to say it seems like it's certainly not an expected prize, but I mean, it almost fits for everything that they're doing, coming through this qualifying year and doing taking all these steps. And they're really proving that they're the best of the best, and they're going to get rewarded handsomely, he or she.
Right, I agree. I think we started out with the idea of the car and basically designed backwards around saying, okay, well, we need this much set aside for the car. What do we need to do to get to that point? And what we found as we designed it, that we could also put together, quite a few more great player experiences, whether it be a player package for the qualifier that's has a couple great discs in it that are exclusives to us that most folks are going to want to bag rather than trade away. And actually, I'm here to preview some of that tonight. Our website went live with the player packages for the qualifiers and the prize packages for the regional championships and the national championships tonight. We're going to announce it a little more broadly tomorrow. But for example, I'm going to pull up the qualifier player package and just kind of give you an idea of what that is. So it's we've got an exclusive Deco Dye Gold Gladiator. We'll be the only folks with those, an exclusive reprocessed gold anchor, 2 great discs, Deco Dye Mini Mercy, and a custom cap that will kind of be the $65 player package that people will get to play in an event. And then if you win the event, you get your entry fee paid into the regional championships. And then what we announced last week was what we're calling the Divisional Amateur National Challenge, the dance. And essentially that's a virtual division across the country. So when you play in a qualifier, they all play as one division. You really won't notice the divisional aspect until your scores are reported, and we tabulate those scores into the aggregate division that you chose when you signed up for that.
Okay, so it sounds like there's going to be a hefty player pack, and then I think can you confirm what the max entry fee was that was talked about maybe a few weeks ago somewhere?
So the entry fee is $48 for the qualifier, and then you can opt into the big dance for another $15, and that $15 goes straight to 100% payout by our sponsor, discgolfcenter.com.
Okay, so they're going to get a great player pack. There's a chance to win more stuff, and then, as you said, the winner of that event will also get paid into the next round, so to speak.
There's entry into the regional championship. The entry fees for the regional championships are $125. The top 12 finishers in each qualifier will get an invitation to play in the regional championship. If you take a look at those details on the website, the players package is $165 player package. That's the Latitude Easy Go backpack bag and an exclusive Opto disc that will be part of that. And then there's at the cut, everybody we go from 144 to 72 in that tournament. The 72 players all get a Shady Rays custom pair of sunglasses with a custom logoed Next Generation case, and then the winner of that event gets an all expenses paid trip to the national championship in November, which will be at the Fountain Hills course in Fountain Hills, Arizona.
Well, it sounds like I'm going to have to go on a rant about you guys spoiling our AMs too much again. I don't know. It sounds like that might be needed at some point, but it's definitely very exciting. It also sounds like you talked to maybe Steve Dodge a little too much. You guys seem to just keep running with all these numbers, and I'm hearing them, and they're going into my head, and it's like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of math done by Steve Dodge and yourself. Any collusion with that guy these days?
Steve and I talk every once in a while. It's been great to watch what he's been able to accomplish with the Pro Tour, and it's really cool to have them as a strategic partner to what we're doing and offering the Pro Tour cards, as well as and I'm not allowed to talk about this very cool gift that folks will be able to buy when they register. But it'll be very limited. There'll only be a few of them for each qualifier that will be available for purchase, and I think folks will be pretty excited about those. So It's been a great relationship with them, and yeah, we look to see where it goes.
Wow. And you having such deep-rooted history in golf and PDGA play, familiar with the PDGA Summit that's taken place or had taken place so many years here at the Memorial, and Vegas always leading into it. Do you have any parting shots for us for what from all of your experience that you can that people should look out for, you think, in the next couple of weekends regarding the pro action taking place?
Oh, I think it's all just exciting. It's great to follow it. It's going to be fun to see who's on top this weekend and where everybody falls, and then how that's going to roll into the Memorial. I wish I was out there at this time, but give me a few more days and I get on my plane. I'll be out at the Memorial. Looking forward to being there. And I would be remiss without mentioning the national championship prize packages that we posted on the website too. Before I go, those are the players package for that event. The entry fee for that is $180, but the players package is a $430 player package. And Zuka came on in a big way. We've got a custom cart that was designed exclusively for the Next Generation Tour. Dave and Cynthia had input on the design and what it's going to do. So we're pretty excited about every player who plays in the national championship will get one of those carts, along with some pretty exclusive plastic and some other prizes. And then essentially there's only 72 people in that event. We'll do a cut down to 36, and there's another $400 player package where we're bringing in some new sponsors. Deck Shell, which is a waterproof sock company, which makes great, the best waterproof socks. I don't know how many pairs of Gore-Tex socks I've gone through in the last 20 some years, and I found these guys and reached out to them and said, you guys got to come into the sport and give us some sponsorship. So we're glad to include those. And we've got gift cards from Keen, and who's another big sponsor of the tour, and a company named On It, which makes health products and workout products. And then the next level up, you get into the top 16. If you finish between places 5 and 16, there's another $635 players package. Again, $100 gift card from Infinite Disc, one of our sponsors, Keen On It. The guys at Latitude are coming up with some exclusive discs that everybody that gets those will be pretty happy with them. And then the final, the top 4 places 2 through 5 will each get about a $3,000 player prize package. That'll include Infinite Disc, the Disc Golf Pro Tour card, the trip back to the Memorial in 2018 to play in the Pro Tour kickoff, and a really sweet Nixon Ranger chronograph watch will be part of that package as well.
Wow. And yet Johnny V and I just keep complaining that we're not eligible to play. I think some rules need to be
I can work on that. I'm going to work on that.
Yeah, we've as we've had a couple people challenge us on the eligibility question, and our answer is we had to draw the line somewhere.
Of course.
So next year we'll maybe change that line, but we'll stick with what we got this year and see how it goes.
That makes perfect sense. What the best part is about our podcast is Johnny can just scrub the audio to change the rules, whatever we need, Johnny, before you put out that podcast.
That's true. I can do that.
Things get rewritten. Well, Pat, we're looking forward to seeing you in the flesh next weekend here as we transition over to the Memorial. But Sounds like you guys have been very busy. It sounds like you've got a ton of numbers and a lot of work that you've put in to make things what they are. You've got to be excited to see this thing kick off in just a matter of weeks. Is that right?
Yeah, next week, I know Dave is looking forward to talking about the car. We'll actually have the car on display at the memorial.
Okay.
At the fountain, and then the week after, March 7th, our registration opens for all of the qualifiers around the country on disc golf scene.
Wow, awesome. All right, Pat, anything else you got to share with us before we let you go?
No, thanks for having us on, and thanks for being a great supporter of Next Generation Disc Golf. And we'll see you next week, Terry, and Johnny will catch you down the road.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right,
Thanks,
have
guys.
a great night, Pat. Thanks for the updates.
Take care.
And as we said, putting in no shortage of work out there, both Pat and Dave and Latitude, everyone else that has anything to do with the Next Generation Tour, incorporating with Steve Dodge, and just all of the regional and local tournament directors all around the country in the 9 regions. It seems like a massive undertaking. And Johnny, what I think is probably one of the craziest parts about that is the Next Generation Tour really just announced all of the details in the last few weeks here on SmashBoxx, and it's not like we've known for a year or two that this was coming.
Yeah,
it just was here, and they're not messing around.
No, they're not. I mean, we knew a couple weeks
messing around.
We knew a couple weeks ago about the tour itself. We found out, and then it seems like they have their act together, where every week they're rolling out more information, as opposed to what we've seen in the past with some of the tours where they announce it a year ahead of time and they're like, just wait, we're going to give you that info soon. And then they, and the Pro Tour and the World Tour are both guilty of this, announcing it ahead of time and then not fulfilling any sort of informational needs from people for months. And with the Next Gen Tour, it's like they announced it and they're like, oh yeah, the first event is tomorrow. And I feel like things are just showing up. So I'm really excited about this. I can't play, and I'm still excited.
Yeah, it is going to be it's going to be interesting to see the serious. I mean, if anybody's second guessing either the challenge or the nerves or the seriousness of this event, then you don't know what you're talking about. Because to know that we're going to all hopefully reconvene and show up in Arizona in November, and someone, after all those crazy player packs and thousands of dollars that people are going to win and be eligible for, but then someone's going to literally drive off in a car. Again, that's not small potatoes there.
It's really not. And like I said, I'm remiss. Not that I have time to play, but I am remiss that I'm not going to get a chance to play. So it is what it is.
We've also heard now, I believe there was a few messages going back and forth as we're always doing our little bit of side action here to make sure we're giving you all the updates. Unfortunately, it does not sound like Zoe is going to be in-house tonight. I do want to confirm a few details with her. Zoe has talked extensively about what we're going to see from her this year. As we know, she's come onto our podcast and given us a lot of different tips and tricks and little nuggets and pockets of information. This year she's talked about having some of her segments pre-produced. In fact, most of her segments, so that she knows she could get them shot. She could have them put into what she feels is a very concise time frame, somewhere around that 2-minute mark, and then basically give them to us so that we can share them with the world every other week or so. And I know she's working with some great editors in San Diego, and we're really excited. So we've got a video from her, but I want to confirm that she wants us to air it tonight, and I'll do that in a few seconds here. She doesn't sound like she's going to be making it into the glamorous and luxurious Excalibur Hotel.
No, and we can always, and again, we can play that towards the end, right before the after show as well. So that would be because I think we've been communicating back and forth with Yuli, and he wants to get on. He wants to lose.
I was gonna say, his performance last year in Yuli's picks, the segment named after him. I wonder if it should be renamed to like T-Dog's picks or.
I don't think so.
can't scare the tear bear or something. Like, I just feel like I destroyed him throughout the entire year. So why he retains the naming of that segment is a little beyond me.
Terry. Last year was a warm-up. It was like a practice round. It's preseason. Now we're getting into the real thing. So,
okay.
You can win the preseason all you want. So,
or the entire season. But, all right. Why don't you hang up with me, and then maybe once he's ready, you can call us back. Do we know if he's ready?
I just actually sent him a message and asked him if he's ready. So hopefully. And for those of you that want to play along this year with Yuli's picks, you can do so, as I've so elegantly plugged a couple times, at skipace.com. You can go to Yuli's picks. You can join the league. The password is right there. It's Yuli wins. One small word. I came up with it, not him.
Yuli wins. That's classic. So, it should be Yuli wins, and then me going, ha, 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 ha.
Yuli wins, ha, 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 ha. I could make that as the password, but no. So, all right. So I'll be right back with you, Terry. We're going to get Yuli on the line.
Okay, that loser. I mean, go.
I need to hang up on him more often. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to first dial up this guy, and then I'm going to add this guy to the call. So hold on one second while we get him on the call. So again, like I said, skipace.com. We got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. We'll probably discuss more in the after show about what I've been up to and what I've been doing. And now we're just waiting for, seems like we have Terry. We're waiting for Yuli to send us some video. Once he sends us some video, we can go. Oh gosh, it's so pretty. It is so pretty. Yuli,
what up, guys?
Are you? It looks like you're laying down.
No, sitting
up
down.
sitting up on a. All right, like you. I don't know. All your hair looks like it's falling straight back, so I can't. It's hard to tell. But
all right.
Welcome. Yeah. Welcome back to the show, 2017. Terry has already talked enough smack about 2016. We can forget that year ever happened. As everybody knows, it was one of the worst years in history. It not just for
test run,
So
some things don't go so well when you're first testing them out. And
that's what I'm saying.
Now
that we have a legitimate platform to make our picks on, we have some experience. I know how disc golf works now.
You can't really just pick the same horses every week.
That's right. We're playing with a salary cap that you picked, which is the more advanced, we'll say, salary cap at only 6,000 points for 4 men and 2 women picks. So the standard leagues that we usually play are 6,025 ratings points. Not easy, but not too difficult. This is a lot tougher to actually make your picks. So hopefully everyone has gone out and made their picks. Terry, you are the winner from last year. Do you want to
here's the funny part is with all your rambling about everything that's going on here, I haven't even made any picks. What do I have to do?
Are you logged into the site?
Apparently I'm logged into this Ski Pace.
Yep.
Ski Pace. Okay.
And do you
I'm logged into this website.
Do you see the big blue background where it says Yuli? The big U?
Oh my God. What is that?
Too boring.
What is that thing?
So for those that for those that want to see, actually, this is the Yuli's pick page. So you can go out here and up on your leagues area, scroll down to Yuli's picks and make your pick. You click the make pick button. It's pretty simple. And this is our Gentlemen's Club Challenge picks. So everyone's going to see my picks right away. So,
interesting. Well, I'm not looking.
That picked last week for the Wintertime Open as a test run and stuff, and that went pretty well for a lot of people. I think a lot of people enjoyed that. So
yeah, exactly. And on average, like I said, now instead of I guess we should qualify this a little bit with as far as scoring. Last year we had a scoring that was really easy to do in Excel because I was lazy. It was more or less if you picked someone in the right spot, you got 5 points. If you picked him in the wrong spot, you got 3. We're doing a totally different scoring this year. Everybody gets points no matter where you pick them. It's based on how many players they beat. So if you pick, we'll say, I think there's 150 people registered for Gentlemen's Club approximately. if you pick whoever wins from that, you're getting 149 points. So 1 point for every person they beat. So it doesn't matter if you pick somebody in 5th place. Last year we wouldn't get any points for that. This year you'll get all the points. So that's going to change the structure of our setup a little bit. So I'm really excited for this. Actually, I'll go first because everyone saw my picks anyway. We are playing with a salary cap of 6,000 ratings points. I'm going to start with my 2 FPO picks for this weekend.
When do I get to criticize this site? Just let me know when my time is up for that. Go on.
Well, you can do that in the after show, Terry. So
okay.
My first, and as soon as you're willing to drop down some cash for a real site, let me know.
I'll go win that on the tables. I'll go win that on the tables.
Yeah, how is IRO working out for you?
Okay, go on. What do you got?
So my first for Gentlemen's Club, I picked my number 2 FPO pick is Evelina out of overseas. She is a really good player. She's the one player to break Katrina's win streak last year, and I think she's a value pick at like 920 ratings points. So I went with her to help pad some of the other picks, and I went with the winner. I went with Paige Pierce. I think Paige is going to come out this week and play very well at the Gentlemen's Club. I think she's actually going to win clearly, but I don't think she's going to win next week. So that's just a teaser for next week. But I think Paige has it this week. The 4 male picks I went with Zach Melton. Dark horse who hasn't played a lot lately, but I saw him post quite a bit today, was Kale Laviska. My second MPO pick was Eagle McMahon, followed up by Paul Macbeth. And again, the order doesn't matter that we pick them because you're going to get the points no matter where you put them. So again, I went with Paul and Eagle, Kale and Zach, Paige and Evelina. Those are my picks. Paul, what do you think?
I like your picks. None of them really surprised me. The women's picks were really good picks. Mine are similar. I picked Evelina getting 2nd place. I picked Katrina to win. I think the 2 choices are obvious, Paige and Katrina. And so, honestly, you pick wrong and you're going to lose 1 point.
Yep. Yeah.
And so, I think it's smart to not pick both. So I went with Evelina and Katrina. I went in the men's open. I went with myself. See, now my low rating pays off in this game. I like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Good strategy.
I like your last year strategy to help you this year on that.
That's what I said. Keep playing poorly so you can pick yourself.
Down the stretch, kind of.
Mm-hmm,
no, I didn't.
Yep.
I picked Ricky Wysocki, Paul Macbeth, and then I picked Eric Oakley. And I think that actually maxed out my it maxed out at 6,000 exactly.
Wow! So you hit all 6,000 with using Eric Oakley.
Yep.
I haven't. I'll say, obviously I think Eric can do well. I just haven't seen him, other than Beaver State. Did he have his big event last year?
No, Fort Stellacum.
Fort Stellacum, yeah. I haven't seen him make that jump, and really the key to this year is finding that lower rated player, that 1,000 to 1,010 rated player that could, like an AJ Risley this past weekend, that can jump up and snag that.
Absolutely, and I was close to picking AJ for this one too, but he was too high of rated for me to grab. I was gonna snag him, but yeah, Eric Oakley. I mean, he's one of those players that can just fire off. Like we saw at the GBO, he was leading after the first round.
Yeah.
And he just had sort of rounds, and I know he's been playing a lot, doing a lot of clinics, doing a lot of stuff for DD Crew.
Mm-hmm.
So I know he's practicing. I played with him. I didn't play with him, but I played a one-day C-tier event in Phoenix a few weeks back, and he actually won that. Played a really, really good round. So I don't know. I feel like it's a kind of a crazy system we got, and it's super fun to finally be able to go down and pick some players like him, that you really want to see succeed, and when they do, it'll be exciting. And Terry, what do you got?
All right. I think I'm all up to speed here. I got to admit I've been not
You copied my picks. I get
not
it.
in the loop, not at all. In fact, I feel like I have very different picks from the both of you. Ladies first. I have in one of the positions our distance world record holder, Jennifer Allen. I feel like obviously the distance out on these courses, not that Paige or Kat have any problem with distance, but I've got Jennifer Allen up there, and I have Paige Pierce up there. So the two women's picks.
Now, do you think are you picking Jen because she just got finished playing in Australia and maybe is a little bit more warmed up than she used to, than sometimes she comes into events?
No, I don't want to say she was a value pick, but again, knowing that I'm anticipating her in the top 2 or 4 people or so, way up there, but her rating is I don't know, 923 or something like that. So I feel like there's a little wiggle room on that rating, and I see what you two cutesies followed each other on your logic with the young gun from overseas, but so similar idea, but slightly different logic. So Jennifer and Paige, I have in the 2 women's spots. I have in the men's spots Jeremy Colling, Philo Brathwaite.
Now there's all where they were playing all the rounds, right?
Yes, I believe Colling will have to play and compete in all of them.
Okay, just making sure.
But Colling, Brathwaite, McMahon, and McBath. And can I have that many points? That seems like a lot of points, but do I get any bonus points because I won every week last year?
You definitely don't get that many points.
I feel like so there's a cap. Is that what the is?
There's a 6,000.
It says I have 2 points left.
And you're picking in the Yuli's picks. Hold on,
that's the only thing I'm registered for. I see this logo of his on here. I still don't understand that. 1051, 1024, 1018, 1023, 958, and 924.
Yeah.
So if you can do all that math in your head. Sure. It says I have 2 points left, so unless your site doesn't work.
That's awesome. If as long as you started out with 6,000 points, that's we're good to go.
Again, I feel like I should be awarded some bonus ones.
Oh no, you won, so you should probably play with less points. You're so good.
Anyway.
I mean, really.
Very cool. So just to clarify for everyone on the board, yes, this is in fact the picks for Gentlemen's Club. And Johnny, just to also further clarify, the default for anyone who is starting up a league or a league of their own, not the softball movie or the baseball movie.
Yeah, a league of their own. When you sign up and you create your own league, as we did with Yuli's picks here, you have the option of 4 different salary caps. You can choose an unlimited salary cap, which obviously you can just pick anyone you want, kind of like how we played last year. The 6,050 point salary cap, which is a way easier salary cap. It basically lets you pick, I kind of assumed it lets you pick Paul and Ricky and Kat and Paige for every event, and then like 2 10, 20 rated players.
Right.
Or the 6,025 point league, which is what most standard leagues are, or the slightly more difficult league, which is what we're playing, is the 6,000 point league. So you really have 4 options when you create a league, and we went with the more difficult because we're a little bit more experienced, and we wanted more of a challenge. We wanted to be able to dig deeper down into that player base.
All right. And when will everyone be able to make their final picks, and what do they need to do?
The picks will lock, so you can't edit them anymore the midnight before the event starts. So for us, it will be tomorrow. It'll be Wednesday at midnight, 11-ish or midnight Central Time. They will lock. Basically, then you can no longer make picks. For that event, you can no longer change your picks. If you look at the rules, it says don't call me Thursday morning and tell me you forgot to make your picks, because I don't care. It's always midnight before the event starts. That's it.
Okay. And what's going to happen when Yuli consistently picks people who really aren't even at the event, as he did last year?
Well, he's probably. I mean, currently, right now, you can pick. I have it set so you could literally pick any person for the event. You need to check the PDGA page. I'm working on a way to filter that out based on people who are actually registered. But for now, sure, Yuli could pick. He could pick 4 people who aren't there if he really wanted to. But
I've seen these people. I saw them all today. We're good.
That's not to say, hey, that's 2 days before the event starts, Yuli. I can't promise they're all still going to be there.
I was asking him this time. I'm on it this year.
Now, at any point,
be here,
Yuli,
right? You're actually here. Yeah. Okay. You're playing. You're healthy. Good. Okay.
and here we are in Vegas. You're a few miles from me now, but at any point, do you take into people's extracurriculars into account? Like, we're still a day or two away from this event happening. There's a lot that could happen before the first round takes place on Thursday.
Absolutely.
Okay.
When I was 19 and 20, I finished, I think, like back-to-back seconds. I turned 21 and I finished like 34th.
So there you go.
I can definitely understand how the extra activities can affect your play at this tournament.
Who do you think will be the most affected at this tournament by being here in Vegas? And maybe they're a veteran of the game, or maybe they're new and it's their first time here. But if you thought, someone that might get caught up in the Vegas lights, who do you think that might be, male or female?
I mean, I would pick, Stevie, but I don't even think he's playing, is he?
I'm not sure. But
that would be a good pick.
But he doesn't even get affected by it at this point anymore. I think he's more of he's better at the extra activities than he is at the disc golf at this point. I think it's just part of his actual routine. But no, I mean, it's Vegas. Go have fun if that's what you're here to do. But I think for the most part, the touring professionals kind of are taking it a little more serious these days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll follow up to that. You, for instance, are not on the Strip. Again, you guys are here to play golf, and the professionals are doing just that. Who is on the Strip? Who might I run into sometime in the next 2 to 9 hours if I'm out there, taking B-roll for the tournament? Who might I run into?
I'm no snitch, man.
Snitches get stitches.
Okay. Well,
I'm sure there's going to be quite a bit of people out on the Strip. If there was going to be a night to party before the event, it would be tonight, and then you have your tomorrow where you're resting and stuff, and then the tournament. But
whoa! Nobody said anything about partying. I just said, who might I run into?
Oh, they're partying.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know.
So, Yuli, it's been a while since you've been on. Somebody else kind of pointed out that this looks a lot like the opposite of your other podcast. We have 1 pro and 2 average Joes. So, tell us a little bit about what you and Coling and I believe it's Brady Hanna are doing right now.
Yeah, our podcast is strictly based on basically me and Jerm on tour, and then Brady Hanna in Iowa. He's a tournament director slash player, kind of a lower caliber open player, and just to kind of give our perspective of what it's like on tour, and kind of give a weekly update of what's going on in mine and Jerm's life and Brady's life, touch base on topics like any podcast would do, and just talk about it. I think that the more podcasts or information that we can get out there, especially from the pros, people are just kind of clenching onto that stuff, and they really want it. So it's going really good. I mean, we're getting a lot of great feedback and stuff, and I'm definitely excited to keep doing it for the rest of the year and see how it goes.
Oh, it's great. I'm glad you guys. Someone's got to take second place.
I know, and we're just batting like 3rd or 4th here, thanks to some other round of golf or whatever they're called. So.
Oh, I don't even know who.
Never heard of them. And where can people find you guys' podcast, if that's what you even call it?
We usually post up links on Facebook, of course, Twitter. We'll share it after. I think we usually record Tuesdays, and we'll get it out pretty much the next day. So look for our Facebook threads and stuff like that, and we'll get it out as fast as we can.
Awesome, and I believe it's out. Yeah, it's hosted mostly at YouTube. I don't think you guys have an audio version yet, audio only version yet. But if
I'm not in charge of any of that stuff, I just get on there and talk.
Well, you do you have time to talk with Germ on the podcast?
No.
Okay.
Do you guys like?
Yeah,
you
I
guys
guess
set aside time?
I listen a lot of what's going on in Germ's life.
He's an exciting guy, you know. He's got stuff.
He's got information to tell the world.
Lots of it. Oh God. Yeah, and so people can find that at I believe it's 2 Pros and an Average Joe. If you do a YouTube search for that, you can find that. It's out there, and you've got a couple episodes, 6 or 7 right now.
Yeah, I think we recorded number 6 last week.
Okay, so that's good.
Anything out of the ordinary that we should be anticipating for with this event taking off in just a couple days, and then obviously the really quick turnaround to head down to the Memorial? Is there anything that you think that someone wouldn't know or recognize or realize is happening, or something to look for? I mean, we're immersed in this. We know what kind of chaos this is going to be. But what's something you would share with someone where it's like, maybe they don't think about that at home? Anything like that?
No, like you said, it's just going to be a very quick transition from this week into the Memorial. We'll have 2 days, 1 day of travel to get there, a day of pretty much practice for some people. Luckily, I live there, so I'm not really part of that hectic 2 days of practice and travel and stuff. But it's going to be fast. I mean, we're going to be right out of this tournament and right directly into that one. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
It is.
I'm not sure that I'm real into the way that it is right now. But
yeah, and that says a lot coming from you. You have been known as one of the guys that grinds hard and is on the tour, plays, more than most people when it comes to playing the amount of events. But here you are, it's early part of the season. You already forewent going to Australia. That wasn't in your plans. And now we're kicking off these 2 big tours, the National Tour and the Pro Tour. And they're literally just 48, practice hours between each other before you guys start things back up on Wednesday. And that's mentally and physically challenging, even in the early goings of a season.
Absolutely, and then to top it off, a lot of the tours, it seems like, have been trending to using one to 2 courses, and unfortunately, these 2 tournaments that go back to back, we're using 3 at each.
Exactly.
So it's not like you can go there, have a day of practice 1 course, play the tournament. It's the same course every time. Mm-hmm. You have to travel in advance. If you plan on competing well, you have to get there early and play every course at least once. If not, you'd like 2 to 3 rounds on each course, and there's just no time to do that. I feel real bad for a lot of people who are going straight here to Vegas, and then who have to do the turnaround and go straight to the Memorial and play 3 rounds in 2 days, and then straight into 4 more rounds.
Yeah, and I think we were saying that maybe even just last week. You hit the nail right on the head. A lot of these events are reducing overall courses for the most part, and here you guys are playing 6 different courses in 8 rounds of golf. And that's almost yesteryear.
It used to be different also because the Vegas was never that big of a caliber of tournament. It was an A tier. It was kind of like a starter to kind of work your way into the tournament mode for the Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's kind of flip-flopped to where the National Tour is the first one of the season, and then you're going to work your way into the Pro Tour. It's like an opposite stairwell down from Australia to the Vegas National Tour to the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
So it's really bizarre, honestly.
One place you're saving yourself at least 10 to 15 minutes or maybe even a few hours is you're not mesmerized as much anymore by the Grand Canyon. I mean, I think we saw Will Schusterich and his wife stop there, and we saw, Eric McCabe and his girlfriend Denise. We saw them stop there, and of course, a ton of our pros, understandably, are stopping at this amazing place. But you're able to just drive right by. You've seen it plenty.
Yeah, but if you're gonna play Vegas and then the Memorial, I would suggest stopping at the Grand Canyon. There's nothing like it. It's really like people say pictures don't do it justice or blah 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 blah, but that's one place where it's 100% true. I mean, I hope both of you have seen it, right?
I actually have not. I lived out in Arizona for a year as a kid, and we never had a chance to get out there and see it. So I've it's one of those big stops that I really need to take. Now that I got 2 kids, it's kind of like, well, yeah, let's wait till the kids can go now. So, but it's on the bucket list.
How unreal it really is. Mm-hmm. It's really weird.
I was thinking about stopping there Sunday night and just doing a little off-roading in the dark. I don't know if that's a good idea, but just maybe I may wait.
Hang gliding?
I think so.
New hang glider.
Bring a hang glider and a donkey.
A hang glider, donkey, and a drone, and I should be
You're
set.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, all right, Yuli. Definitely looking forward to everything. What is in your game plan for tomorrow? I was Johnny and I were kind of discussing what ours was and cameras and equipment and all this. What's your game plan tomorrow?
I have one more course to practice. I think I practice the Innova course tomorrow, which is the one we play twice. I'm going to play 1 round and then rest. I played 2 rounds today. You guys know I'm coming off that knee injury, so this is a lot of golf, and it's kind of a nice little tester. But everything's good, and I feel healthy and stuff. So I'm gonna take it easy tomorrow, and then I don't tee off till late on Thursday. So. Okay,
and that's a perfect segue actually. And a follow up to that is, what did you think about the pairings, the rounds? And I mean, it looks like they pretty much, with one minor exception at the end, we'll say, they pretty much went straight last name. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think they've pretty much done that every year at this, so I'm used to it, but I honestly don't like it. I definitely think it should be random. And I've discussed this even with the featured card. I think the times should definitely be random. The players, not so much. I don't really care, but I think all times, tee times, should be randomly picked.
Okay. Very interesting. And to speak to that, there is a feature card, which consists of last year's champion Philo Brathwaite, along with the other players that were voted in, which has become a much more popular format. The Pro Tour, the World Tour have been doing it now as well. But the featured card at 1:36 p.m., which will be recorded and then put up in post-production, consists of Philo Brathwaite, Simon Lizotte, Eagle McMahon, and Ricky Wysocki. So that's interesting to see. Your card at 1:20 p.m., you're at 1:12, and it looks like you are with Rodney Tripp, Nolan Signey, Austin Turner, and yourself. Austin Turner being kind of the other name that we would most likely recognize from his solid performance in the last year and a half or so, the pro that's on tour with Big Germ. And then one other big group, and Paul McBeth kind of brought it to light. One of the other more notable groups that are out there is Paul McBeth's group, again, all by last name, but we see them tee at 11:20, and that's going to consist of Paul, Eric McCabe, Johnny McRae, and Trey McElvey, all at the 11:20 group. And that seems, again, last name, but if there was a random way to have a stacked card with still being some logic in the last names, that seems as close to a stacked card as you can get.
Well, hopefully Paul uses or Mr. Macbeth uses the restroom before the event this year.
I knew somebody was going to go there with it.
I figured it'd be me.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw his post, and there's about 10 of those comments on his post.
Was there? Yeah, no doubt.
His card this week. But
well, very. And then what are we looking at? I do have a good question for you after this. But on the women's side, it looks like they're going to be going off early. Earliest round starts at 7:20 or 7:12, and then 7:20, and then so on and so forth throughout, with the last tee off happening at 8:32. I believe that was also a voted upon featured card featuring Katrina Allen, Paige Pierce, Evelina Salonen, and Jessica Weiss. So that will be a featured card at 8:32 a.m. on Thursday's opening round. So, Paul, I had a question that I think is very relevant for you, and I'd love your perspective on it. Regular questioner out on the Facebooks, Rob Ryan, had made a comment about having featured cards for Masters divisions. And then it seemed as if from there, that question then spurred some other comments. And I think one of the narratives that unfolded was, it's almost as if Masters don't matter. Some were saying. You're a long ways from being a Masters age player, and you're certainly one of our faces, and again, one of our touring players out there. How do you feel about our age-protected divisions? Do you feel like there needs to be more light on them, less light? Do you feel, where do you draw a line as to which divisions are truly featured and in the limelight, so to speak?
You got to tread lightly with this conversation.
Do you?
I don't.
You don't have to.
Well, same with this one, and even with the women's division. And I've kind of stood firmly on the belief that right now we need to focus on the men's and the women's division for sure, the MPO and the FPO. And that's no disrespect to the Masters division.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there's only one simple reason why. And it goes for me, it goes directly to the women too. There need to be different tours, and the game's just not there yet. The women should have their own tour, honestly. They should have the LPDGA tour, and the Masters should have their own tour. We see this with traditional golf, and it works great. And, the LPGA tour has lots of money, and they have a very successful tour and tons of media, and the same with, the Masters tour. There's just, right now, the game's just not big enough to be fair with where you push your media. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I think the initiative should be to grow the game, and honestly, if we're going to do that, it has to be with the best players in the world, and that's not taking anything from their games.
Of course not.
No, because we all know a lot of those Masters can win an Open event.
When we see the Masters at the USDGC, and for years we've seen Patrick on the lead card and Johnny McRae make that great run at the title and stuff. So we know they have game, and they can play Open, And the great thing about, well, not necessarily the great thing, but the thing with getting the featured cards and the votes and stuff is, I think Johnny McRae was on there, and he could have been voted onto the featured card. He just wasn't.
Sure.
And so that's kind of where I stand with that stuff.
Okay. And I think you responded in a very similar sense to what I would, and it seems like a lot of the people on the board at the moment here on YouTube are kind of saying the same thing. None of the three of us and hundreds of other people will ever disagree or want to take away from anything from the Masters players, as not only were some of them are some of them the greatest to ever play the game, your Climos and your Schultzes and your McRaes, but also they clearly have an enormous amount of very, very admirable, respectable talents. I mean, all those guys and your Patrick Browns and your Jay Reddings and all those guys that could dominate Open on any given day are very impressive.
And I'd
But
be willing to bet money that if you had Ken Climo as a vote, he would have got voted in.
Oh yeah.
For sure. There's
Yeah.
no doubt.
yeah, so there's so there's something to be said about all of that. However, as you've alluded to, maybe another tour is the answer. I think there's going to be some of those questions will get answered as we see the this year's Masters Worlds take place over in Grand Rapids. So I think some of those things may get, may start falling into place. But right now, we're struggling to have the lead card of men, the lead card of women covered, and then one could make an argument and say, okay, well, do we want to see the chase card, which is, clearly has just that, somebody that could be chasing down the title from the second card that no one will see, or should the effort be dedicated toward one Masters card, or and then one could say, well, what about the second card of women, or just it's like, where are you going to draw the line? And I understand it's a delicate subject, but at the same time, if you're in the know and you're looking at the numbers, you got to
really
go.
Dry. Who are you going to watch? Are you going to watch Paul McBeth, Ricky Wysocki, Eagle McMahon, and Simon? Are you going to want to film that, or are you going to want to film the lead card in the Masters? Unfortunately, that's what it comes down to. And,
you could even say the same thing. You could say the same thing about the fourth card of the Open, though. Like, let's assume we have three crews there, and the filming crew has the option. Are you gonna watch a bunch of 10-10 rated players? Let's just say on the fourth card of a particular event or this event, or are you gonna go watch some 10-10 to 10-20 maybe rated Masters play? People are gonna stick with the Open, and the Masters field matters to the Masters players, but it doesn't matter to media, unfortunately, right now, because we don't have enough lenses. There's just not enough manpower.
Now, when you have like an all Masters tournament,
yeah,
then they get filmed.
Yep,
and then
of course, totally different story.
Assuming someone shows up to film them. I mean, there has to be a reason for these people who are filming to show up, whether it's sponsored or they know they're going to get the hits on YouTube or what, but even that isn't promising them camera time. I mean, it's just the nature of our business and where we're at with the sport right now. Yeah,
it really is. It's a delicate subject, like we said, but we all kind of know the answer to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's something that we're going to see more of, and as more film crews become available, that will be kind of I think that we'll have to sift through it all as to who's going where, who's covering what, and where the priorities need to take place. And again, all three of us, especially Johnny and I, who are only a year or so away, all three of us certainly love and admire and respect all the skills that are taking place, and these amazing players that have dominated the Open division for so long, for so many years. It's not that they don't matter. It's that it's just, as Johnny said, there's just not enough lenses to go around for everyone. And again, they're always welcome. And I think that always goes back to the same argument you see with added cash. Everyone can play Open, not everyone can play Masters. So if you're going to dump money into one spot, added cash going to the Open division is seemingly what makes the most amount of sense, because everyone's eligible for it.
Yep.
So
hopefully in 12 years there'll be a Masters tour that I'll be able to play on.
There you go.
Make money.
If anybody could, and I bet you the question is, are you going to be jumping back and forth between the Masters Tour and the Open Tour and back and forth? I have a feeling you will be.
I think so.
All right. Anything else you got for us there, Paul?
No, man, it's good to be back on, and thanks for having me tonight. And thanks to all the listeners. Hopefully they can have some fun with this and go make your picks. Make sure to post your picks on Terry's wall. And no, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow, Terry.
All right, sounds good. Have a good night.
See you later.
All right. And that, of course, Paul Ulibarri giving us Yuli's picks, the regular segment where I whoop up on Paul Ulibarri and Johnny V. Don't forget, I always give Paul a hard time for whooping him. But Johnny, you were part of that year-long beatdown last year as well.
Yeah, you got out to a head start early, and then you kind of maintained your margin from there on out. And I'll say you did win. We were making a little comeback at the end, but the events kind of petered off, and we didn't really have a chance to make a comeback. So you were lucky that the clock ran out. Is really what it comes down to.
Yes.
You did
definitely.
what you did what the Falcons couldn't.
Yeah,
ultimately.
I just couldn't wrap it on. Yeah, exactly.
And for those, like we mentioned, real quick, I just want to mention, for those of you that are just joining the Yuli's picks, after you join the league, if you want to go into your profile area, you can set a default league for yourself, so that when you log into the site, it will automatically log you into that particular league. I know there's a lot of really good and fun leagues out there. There's the Disc Golf Answer Man League. There's Ulta World is doing one. There's a Reddit League. There's our league, of course, the Yuli's League. And if you're a Patreon supporter, there is a Patron League. So just keep your heads up there. There's a lot of fun to be had this year.
There are, as I'm perusing the site here, Johnny, there are no less than 50 to 75 different leagues taking place. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yeah,
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, some of those leagues were created last year, and I didn't clear them out because some people might want to join in. But I think towards the end of this middle of the year, I'll look at what leagues have no picks in them and probably clean them out. But yes, there are right now. I was telling somebody I had about 1,000 people sign up last year. I already have over 1,200 people, I think it's about, sign up so far in basically the last 2 to 3 weeks that I've made this public. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Okay. Well, and I was just noticing some of the uniqueness of some of the league names. What I would love to do as a total side note is personally in a week or two go through and pick what I feel is the most entertaining league name, as I'm taking a real quick look down some of these league names. Of course, Disc Golf Quebec, I get it, okay? So that's great. But then I look at some of the other ones, and there's some pretty entertaining league names in here. Not so unique, or maybe they just really couldn't dial it in. Looks like St. Cloud Disc Golf Club has 2 of them. They could probably clean that up. But I see Tree Bangers, Tree Blasters, and Tree Magnets.
Hey, lots of people hit trees.
I guess. Trees for all. Sandbaggers, Ridge, and Forest, a couple of them. So, definitely go out there. That's, of course, again on skipace.com, skipace.com, skipace.com. Create it. It's all free to do, free to use. Create a league with your buddy. What are some of the official paid leagues that, I don't want to say we endorse, but what are some of the paid leagues that we are directly involved with, Johnny?
I have 2. There are 2 paid leagues. There is a $20 cash league, which you can PayPal me the money, and I'll enter you in the league. And I think we've already had 3 people hop on just during this podcast, where I'm going to pay out the top 15% of the field. So if we have, let's pretend we have 100 people sign up, I pay out the top 15 people somehow. There's also a $10 league, which is a charity league, and that league, all the proceeds are going to go to St. Jude, just like they did last year. Last year, for the winner, I got them a custom stamped, I believe it was a Dimax disc for winning the league and being part of the, basically donating the money is what we're doing for that one. So, and that's a $10 league. If you'd like to join them, like I said, you can reach out to me or just, PayPal me the money, and then I put you in here on the backside, because I'm not handing out that password, so people can't log themselves in that aren't part of the league. So it's so those are the 2 basic leagues. And next week maybe we'll talk about the Disc Golf Pro Tour league that we start, that Steve Dodges and I are working together with UDisc on. It's going to be structured a little differently as far as scoring. We are not going to be using the standard how many people you beat is how many points you get. With UDisc, we have access to a lot of different stats that we can adjust and make a different league type of scoring. So that's strictly the Disc Golf Pro Tour League. There was some confusion because there are Pro Tour events in the standard leagues, but the special scoring is strictly for the Pro Tour League. So otherwise, everything else is normal.
Okay, and does the $10 one start this week?
The $10 and $20 ones both start this week, but because, and I'll say this is not partially, it's my site. This is on me. Getting the site up and running took longer than I'd hoped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give everybody until after the Memorial to sign up. And if you sign up anytime from then, I'll take your picks from the other league, from the main Skip Base League, and I'll move them into the $20 and $10 league. So I'll make a copy of them. You'll get those exact picks, so you'll have them in both leagues. So if you just kind of want to dip your toes into the site and you're not sure exactly how it's going to work, you want to get 1 week in and say, oh, this is awesome. This is the best thing I've ever done. Johnny, you're the smartest guy I've ever seen. All those things can be said. And then you want to pay me, after the GCC or after the Memorial, I'll allow that. But once that third event starts, no one else is going to get in. I don't think it'll be worthwhile because at some point you're going to be behind X amount of points and it's not going to be worthwhile signing up. So I'm going to give people the first 2 weeks to sign up. So,
okay.
But yes, all the official leagues all start this week.
Yeah, and then as we close out the show here tonight, before we get to the after show, we'll also like to announce we'll have a couple things going on next week, including a catch-up with our friends over at the UDisc app. I know they're out there online, and as you just mentioned, they're going to be working with you on integrating some really cool information and statistics into the overall fantasy leagues. However, they're also going to give us an update as to what we're going to see new for the Disc Golf Pro Tour here in 2017, and give a little call out to caddies and other people that might be interested in keeping some scores for the Disc Golf Pro Tour on the really easy to use Disc Golf
the UDisc app.
UDisc app. So tune in next week. We're going to have them talking to us amongst some other people. We'll probably be talking to, I'm guessing, the winner of at least one or more of the winners from this weekend's event, and then prepping ourselves for the Memorial for next week. So
Terry, are we gonna show the Zoe thing, or are we gonna wait on that?
I did reach out to Zoe, who said she's sorry. She's incredibly tired after all the practicing, and she said that she would just join us on the show next week.
Okay.
And that's where we could talk a little bit more about her segments and what she has planned for us in 2017.
Sounds good.
And to keep your eyes peeled for that, and the Disc Golf Girls YouTube channel, where you're going to see more videos uploaded as well. So
that sounds
should
great.
not be a problem. So, all right, Johnny, I think we can. It feels so weird. It says 9:03 here in my hotel, and I know we normally start at 9 o'clock Central, so it feels weird saying that we're wrapping things up for the regular show. But I think we can wrap it up for now. We'll talk more about fantasy and some other details, some Vegas life here in the after show. But I think we've had some great guests with a ton of information. So
yeah, Pat
I'd like
Govang
to go ahead and thank
overwhelmed people with info.
Dana Vici, thank you so much for tuning in and giving us the update from everything that took place last week. And, of course, Pat Govang of the Next Generation Disc Golf Tour. And then, of course, Paul Ulibarri for giving us all of his picks and the excitement that we should be anticipating for not just his segment throughout the entire year, but also what we're going to see here at this Disc Golf National Tour as it kicks off. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, right out of Las Vegas, Nevada, this has been podcast number 132. We're going to draw our Patreon winner here in the after show in just a few minutes, so stick around. We got more information for you. We'll see you soon when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the video credits. If you're interested in being listed as a producer on SmashBoxxTV's podcast, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Let me know. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SmashBoxxTV after show.
Oh, the after show. I forgot Rick had made a little after show bug for us, and I forgot to grab it and put it on because we were so busy getting your system and stuff to work, and I didn't get a chance.
Oh yeah, blame my system now.
It's not just it's not your fault, but we were a little bit more hectic before the show than I was thinking. So we'll try to get that put up hopefully next week for our after show. It's some sort of bug or logo. I haven't even looked at it, to be honest. I didn't get a chance, but
All right.
I'm looking for it.
Well, either way, thank you, Rick, who has worked on a few graphics for us. And then I think the premise of that is when this particular bug or graphic is up, then people are going to be made aware that we're for sure already within the after show. Is that what's going on?
Apparently, yeah. So people can scrub right through in YouTube and find the after show.
All right. Well, I can't say that I'm going to have a whole heck of a lot, Johnny. I know you're gearing up for this fantasy disc golf league.
Oh,
I know that there's a ton of leagues going on around the country. People are getting signed up and excited about it. They can join us. They can play for free in the Yuli's Picks League.
And one of the things that Yuli mentioned to me is that he may be giving away some stuff towards the end of the year to some of our listener winners. So I can't guarantee that because it was just talked about. So I'm going to put him on
I think it's going to be his man bun clippings.
Ooh, just cut it off and just hand it to somebody, or?
It's one idea. I'm just throwing out ideas.
You know, there's nothing wrong. Whatever. So yeah, so look for that. If doesn't hurt to sign up and play, and then in hopes that maybe Yuli does kind of step up and gives away some stuff. Maybe we'll give away some stuff. We don't know, but it is
anything's possible.
It is Yuli's pick, so we're gonna make.
I learned anything was possible today when I got my first and now only meal so far in Vegas, and at the restaurant counter, the wonderful cashier lady said that there are no calories in Vegas, and I was like, how did I not get here earlier?
I find that hard to believe, Terry. Just so
I know,
you know,
even in a peanut butter chocolate malt, which she said it was her favorite, and which was the only reason why I obliged, is because of just that. So I guess there's no calories in Vegas.
Yeah.
So score.
All right. So now I have I've just now I downloaded our list of patrons, so it's all up to date. Looks like
as you go through that. I'm going to go ahead and again announce, as always, we're here in the after show, which is a great opportunity. Anyone following along on our YouTube page that's watching live, we certainly recommend, suggest, and hope that you interact with us. If you've got questions, that's the best place. Just go ahead and type them in on the live chat on YouTube. I know a lot of you watch also on Facebook. At some point, we'll be able to maybe monitor that as well. But if you have a question for us or a question for other people or whatever, maybe we can repeat it out on the live chat on YouTube. Make sure you're signed in, and then we can see it as I'm going through a few of the details out here. Cool One had just asked, Terry, are you staying in a Vegas hotel with other disc golfers? Party atmosphere? Have you run into any stars? I believe the event host hotel, which I had asked about, and it didn't sound like I knew of any overwhelming majority of golfers or anything. I wasn't sure of the details, is across the street. That's the Tropicana. Me and a few of our cameramen for the week are going to be here at the Excalibur, which is next door to the Luxor, which is across the street from MGM and also across the street from New York, New York. So for those that are familiar somewhat with the Vegas Strip, we're kind of on I believe that's the south end. I haven't seen any other golfers, but I haven't been around to do too much just yet. So party atmosphere, I think that goes without saying.
It's Vegas. It's hard not to be a party.
I'm doing a podcast, for God's sakes, on a Tuesday night. What kind of life do I have?
I've questioned that many times.
All right. Matt Pipke's excited. Finally time for disc golf in 2017. I totally agree. Best movie about Vegas ever. I don't know that I've seen any that really...
Other than The Hangover.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say I was I would rename that to the disappointment, and only or mainly because so many people talked it up that by the time I saw it, yeah.
But
if
I'll
you
say
do
this,
walk down the Vegas Strip, I guarantee you'll see a Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, look-alike.
Yeah, there's a few people that dress up like him, and try to hustle you for a picture and then a donation. But yeah. How far is the course from the Strip? I believe it's about 15 to 20 minutes. In fact, I'm going to do a quick Google search to confirm that. We're going to be heading out there tomorrow. I believe it's technically located in Hendersonville.
Yeah, I think that's where Yuli's staying as well. So,
and so I'm going to do the quick directions from where I'm at and set location.
And I'm going to agree with Ronald Harkey and say I think Ocean's 11, the new one that I've seen, is probably the best one that I can think of out of Vegas. So, and I
would go along with that.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm not a big fan. I mean, I enjoy Casino, but it's not as good as Goodfellas to me and things like that. So it doesn't. I mean, it's good, but Ocean's 11 is more my style.
Okay, so for those interested in the geography, Hendersonville, or the Wild Horse Golf Club, is south and west of the Strip overall. Looks to be about 8.5 miles from where I'm at, so it says it'll be 20 minutes drive time to get there off of Warm Springs Road, for those, again, that have any familiarity with the area. So about 20 minutes to get there. So.
Yeah.
Also on the board, yes, Ocean's 11 talked about.
A lot of people enjoy Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. If you want some depressing, you could go with Leaving Las Vegas. I believe that was the Nicolas Cage movie.
I thought that's where you're going with that. Cool One suggests that the cocktail waitresses in Vegas give free drinks if you wink at them. Oh, and play high-stakes roulette. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I did learn, I think, in a previous visit that if a person says something like, do you have a lighter or nice pants, sometimes they may not be interested in either. So I'll just leave it at that. That may be an opening line that some people could hear. Or they just like my pants. I don't know.
They might.
Rick says he'll be in Vegas in May, but he stays on Fremont Street. The old part of Vegas is the best part. I think Fremont Street is very cool and unique. I've spent limited time near there. However, the overhead zip line is amazing. So that is definitely, if anybody's going to get down to Fremont Street for something specific, it's a little bit of a time suck, but it's awesome. The zip line, which I forget the name of, but it's awesome. Does Casino Royale still have $1 beers? I don't know. I believe a lot of them can be free, again, if you're gambling. Patrick Hansen says, are you coming down to film this year's Throwdown the Mountain? Unfortunately, Patrick, I am not. That conflicts with a Disc Golf Pro Tour event. Very, very disappointed in Steve Dodge and Mike Barnett not collaborating on that to not be on the same weekend. What make of vehicle did I end up getting through our thrifty drama? It ended up being I believe a Nissan Altima, which worked out just fine. Worked out really well. Let's see some live gambling, huh?
Is that legal? Can you take your Facebook Live and?
Yeah, you can now pretty much do anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And by legal, I mean, will the casinos allow it? I mean,
I believe that you could. I don't know if it's a good question. I don't know if they'd stop you or not. I guess it depends on how discreet you were or weren't trying to be. I'm not. They probably wouldn't like it now that I think about it, but I guess
because
I
just read an article. It was probably a week or two ago about these. More or less, they're Russian hackers that in Russia, when the casinos were shut down, I think when Putin took over, all these slot machines had to be gotten rid of. So what happened was organized crime bought them all, and they've spent like the last 5 or 7 years hacking them and trying to figure out how to beat them. And apparently, there was a way the random number generator on the inside wasn't as random, so to speak, that if you did a couple spins and registered what those spins were, you could take it back. They would figure out how long it would take to hit the button and cash out and win, basically. Like it would buy winners for you. So what they would do is they'd rack up some wins, they'd get up and leave, and apparently they were taking casinos for like 10 and 20 grand trying not to get caught. And they got busted because they took their Facebook Live. What they would have to do originally was write down the slot results, and then they would go in the other room and they'd send them the results, and then they would they'd talk with whoever they were talking with back in over near Russia. But then what they figured out with Facebook Live is that you could just Facebook Live the results. They'd have it almost instantly, so you would know exactly when to hit the button based on, I think, some clicks and noises that this specific type of machine made. So it was really, really interesting article about how they got busted. And one guy, there was basically came down to one guy coming back into the United States that they found and busted him because he was in a St. Louis casino. So it was really go. Based on what I said, I think you can Google that stuff and then you'll be able to find it.
Huh. Well, I know that I know originally we have a casino in downtown Milwaukee where you and I live, Johnny, and I remember at one point where it was crazy that you couldn't bring a phone in there, or you weren't ever to really take your phone out of your pocket if you had one with you. Of course, that was many years ago, and now everybody's running around doing whatever with phones. I don't think there's any issue with phones being anywhere within the casino. If you were to actually probably make note of or make a spectacle of you being live or doing any kind of long recording, I'm sure that's when they would probably come after you and yell at you. So, yeah, very, very interesting. And for those out there, I am personally not a slot guy at all. In fact, I've played very few slots ever in my life. I hate the idea that it is nothing more than just blind, dumb luck. Obviously, there's plenty of winners on them. There's more losers than winning. It's never interested me. If I am to play any kind of game at the casino, it's either war, which is pure skill. No, it's either, or it's blackjack. I'm a big fan of blackjack, which I think has the highest odds out of any table game.
Yeah, it's closest to even, basically. It's like 49 or 48.5% or something favoring the player, or not favoring the house as opposed to the other way around. But Cool One has a very good tip. He says, if you're going to steal chips from the table, do it near the exit. So if you're going to steal someone's chips, grab them, run towards the closest exit.
Okay. Dallas Trower says the casinos don't want you to show other people's faces in the videos, which probably could be said of a lot of things in general. But all right, I've also
let's do our giveaway here.
Yes, sounds like a plan.
All right, so I'm just gonna say shout out to Scott Cruz for just recently here, last couple minutes ago, bumping up your
giving $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000 million. So bumping up your Patreon support, we really do appreciate it. So, but I see that we have 90 patrons. I see on my list now, I have that many people in my list. Sometimes it is not always even based on when people sign up and when they don't. So, I am going to go to the random.org. I have my numbers 1 through 90. I'm going to hit generate. 55. 55 is Matthew Norton. So
damn, Matthew Norton.
Matthew Norton, what up in the house? Matthew Norton, you're going to get a disc. We don't have it here. Terry is in Vegas right now, and he's usually one that supplies all the people, all the stuff that we give away. So Matthew Norton, we will reach out to you and make sure that everything is verified and we got your address and all that other good stuff. So if you don't hear from us, let us know. But congratulations on being. And if you want to be part of the weekly giveaway, as always, all you need to do is sign up at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. If you find value in what we do and would like to give some value back, you can do it for as little as a minimum of $1 a month, or $1 a show, or $10. I mean, we don't restrict you on how much you can give. Let's put it that way.
No. And I was thinking, I was just hiding the SmashBox TV latest
nice.
tee that we had done up. We've been giving some of these out or giving options, but this was one of the random ones that I grabbed before I took off, and really like it. So I was sporting it today. When I got to the thrifty rental car, I walked up and the gentleman said, "SmashBox TV." I was like, "Yeah,
we're big. We're a big deal." That's what you should say. Like, yeah, we're a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm like, tune in 9 o'clock, bro. But, anyway.
Get him on the podcast.
Some Mackie D on the board says he loves roulette. I can't say I'm a big roulette guy.
I don't know enough about it, other than just you put your. I mean, roulette's not too hard. Craps is another one where I'm kind of like, ugh. Like,
craps. I no joke. I have spent a lot of time observing the craps area. Is it the pit? Something like that. I've observed a lot. I've asked questions at least 10 different times in 10 different casinos of 10 different people or more. Still no clue. Pass, 7s, 9s, 8s, 9s. I don't know. Pass and all the things that are on there. I'd like to think I'm not an idiot, but I have yet to wrap my head around how that entire game gets played. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out here. Matt is saying craps has a lot of rules, and they certainly do. But pretty crazy because, I'll never. I don't think I'll ever understand it. Andy says, Terry, I see all the crazy Eagle videos where he's clearly under 21, but he looks intoxicated. I hope that he's aware people watch him. Andy, I would doubt that. I'm just going to, this is completely editorial, and that I would doubt that he's intoxicated. Maybe he is. I can't say I watch all of what Eagle puts out. It seems like he vlogs or goes live a lot, and I have to live a life too, so I can't keep track of everybody always going live all the time, because we have a lot of people that do. I would highly doubt he's intoxicated, but maybe. And yes, clearly people watch him. Is Val announced she was going to sign with Discraft yet? Speculation still swirls. Think we'll know more next weekend at the Memorial presented by Discraft. Cool One states that he's from the East Coast, but now in Illinois. And is euchre a thing, a Wisconsin-Illinois thing? We never, ever play it where I'm from. And I can't get away from euchre, which is funny that I had to think about pronouncing that correctly.
Euchre and cribbage.
Very Midwestern. Yes. Yes. For those who don't know what we're talking about, there are a couple of card games. But yes, very Midwestern. Both lots of fun, but usually somewhat regional, or a person that's playing and are passionate about it probably spent either some time in the Midwest or has some family or relatives from there. I don't think Eagle drinks, Ronald Harkey says. Eagle has live video feeds from his hotel room and Instagram, and he's drinking. Trust me. Well, I'll trust you if you have enough time to. It's funny because I don't think he spends a lot of time in hotels. But okay, I'm not going to argue with you. If you see it, then I guess you see it. I would be highly shocked and surprised if that's in fact the case. And Mackie D has a great tip. Never film your crimes. And I think that is a very generic and applicable tip to anyone out there. Who do you two collect autographed discs from for your own collection?
I mean, I like to have the classics. I've got a Steady Ed disc. I've got a bunch of Hall of Fame discs that about half of them I think are signed, maybe a little more than that. Mm-hmm. Back in the day when I was, a young pup, it was the big guys who were coming up. It was your Russell, your Climo, of course, your Stokely.
It's common to get world championship signatures if you're there. Whether that's a Ron Russell or a Cam Todd or a Climo again or a Barry Schultz. It was it to this day is still very classic. Whoever wins Worlds, you naturally want to get their autograph. And whether or not we're fortunate and or spoiled that we see these players very frequently, maybe a little bit some of that fandom has worn off just slightly, but
it is for sure.
I still love having, various discs with any one of those top player signatures, or any top player signatures, or any huge accomplishment, or I had ordered 5 discs from Jennifer Allen, who broke the world record. And as a collector and as a fan, I ordered discs and had her sign them. So
I know. I just like I said, I just got the Paige Pierce discs. I got some Val Jenkins discs.
Did I?
It's as Terry said. I'm not starstruck anymore by any player, by any disc golfer. There's not a single one of them now where, when we were younger, it would be kind of like, oh, go up and get your disc signed. I have no problem now walking up to any pro, shoving a disc in their face and saying sign. No, I'm just kidding. And asking them to sign a disc. So I think getting the world champs. I've got just recently when Nate was in town last year, he signed a TI Buzz for me, and I'm really happy with that one. And of course, any of the pros. I think I've got to make Beth sign discs somewhere. To be honest, I don't even know, but. And it's not just that. I mean, I'll say this. This is a fun tip. If you go on a disc golf trip, get your disc signed by the people maybe that either play in your group, or if you're at a tournament, locals. I've got a cool old school Stratus that's signed by, I think it's half the city of Mobile. So, I mean, just it's those type of things that you will remember more than maybe even the world champ disc that you have signed. So,
yeah, and speaking to that very much so, it's funny to have. Like you said, in Mobile, we had our disc autographed when we visited there in 97, 98, 99, that time frame. And one of the autographs that is on there is Leslie Todd. And at the time, she was Leslie Herndon before she had married Cam Todd. And to know that we still see some of these players on any given weekend, and here it is nearly 20 years later from when she first signed that disc.
Yeah.
It's interesting and historical from that, or when you have a Garrett Gerthy sign a disc, or an Evan Gerthy, or any of the Gerthy boys, so to speak, sign discs. When they were barely old enough to write their name, but they sign a disc, and then they go on to be some of the best players, in Florida and on tour for a while. That's why it's so cool to don't be afraid to get a number of different autographs or signatures from people. When you travel around, because you never know who you played in recreational with, and one day they could be world champ. So
exactly,
it's pretty cool.
Where's the weird country? Someone's asking where's the strangest place you've been recognized?
I don't. It wasn't the strangest now, but I think one of the coolest places was just at the airport. And it was by a non-hardcore disc golfer. It was now 3-4 years ago when I was leaving it was one of the first places I'd ever been recognized. But I was leaving the Vibram at the time. It was the Vibram Open. The last putt had fallen. I basically got rushed right into to the airport, which is about an hour drive. And someone was there and said something about they recognized me, and then they said. I said to him, "Oh, what a crazy finish, huh? Like the way that went down, like, oh my gosh, it was so dramatic." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, the tournament you were just," and he's like, "No, I don't even know what you're talking about. I wasn't there." So I thought that was like, he recognized me from doing my videos, but not to the point where he was into or at the Vibram Open and hardcore into the tournament scene in that capacity. Also, when I was in California, I was in Santa Cruz last year. And a gentleman was playing volleyball on the beach. Him and a couple buddies were, and at one point I started having a conversation. I hung out there for a while and was taking a bunch of pictures of other stuff. And at one point he had said something about watching some of my videos. He wasn't playing in the tournament. He knew a few friends were. He was very much a a recreational golfer doesn't even, tune into Smashbox, I don't think, or anything like that. But said he had recognized me from some of the disc golf videos. I thought that was pretty funny. So I'd say those are probably the weirdest places.
Ronald Harkey has a funny question asking, does an autograph value or devalue a disc? And I think it all depends on the disc and the signature. Like if you had, let's just say, I'm gonna guess that this is a pretty valuable disc, like a first run destroyer. Is that a pretty valuable disc, there?
Yes, anywhere from $125 to $300, depending on which one you have.
Is it less valuable if, and no offense to him, but if we'll say Steve Brinster signed it, if Steve Brinster, what was that?
It's still less valuable if Paul McBeth signs it.
Really? Even if I was going to say, is it that much less valuable if McBeth signs it? Now, of course, usually when you get a disc signed, you don't know what the future of that disc is going to be. If you grab, if you're at a tournament and you grabbed a first run destroyer to have someone sign it back in the day, just because those were the new discs, you don't know that. I mean, it's like, oh, look, McBeth, I'm going to get a Innova destroyer. There you go, cool. And in 10 years, you look at it and go, oh my God, this is like a $200 disc now, or it would have been. Can you really blame yourself? I mean, and
no,
what else are you going to have them
exactly
sign?
as the conversation says on the board, if it's personalized and it's meant for you or to you, or a special moment in time or in your life or at the event, then you could say it's priceless. If you get to go see one event, in 2017, and the winner of that one event signs that one disc, that is probably very personal and priceless maybe to you. But right now, it's kind of the standard philosophy is autographs are relatively easy to still come by amongst our players, and therefore, if you're still living, and some people could get your autograph on any given day. And I think that's all a blessing in disguise. I think we're fortunate that we're in that situation still. Someday it may not be like that, but right now, I don't think it does anything for the value, unless again you find a really someone who's really emphatic about a person, and they say, "Oh my gosh, I'd pay $300 for this, this $100 disc with so and so's autograph. I'd pay up to $300 for it." I think those are anomalies. That is not the norm at all. So so what everybody should do out there is go find all your first run destroyers, get an autograph on them, and then sell them to me, and I'll buy them at a discount or something. Anyway, I don't think so. Somebody could dispute all day long, but as much as I see and sell myself, I don't think that's the case. Right now, autographs.
And as we've said before, pretty much every player is going to sign your disc, is assuming you approach them at the right time. It's never the right time if they're immediately before an event or during an event. And even depending on how the player played, sometimes after an event, but usually you're safe after an event. Even if a pro has a really bad round, if you give them 5 minutes, they're probably going to, put a smile on their face and sign your disc. So don't, as I said, I'm not afraid to personally go up to anybody, and I don't think at this point in our sports history anybody else should either. So,
Chain Banger, which I think is abbreviated, says adults getting autographs wrong. I totally disagree.
I disagree with that. It's not like adults bringing a glove to a baseball game. That's wrong.
I was just gonna say, you think that's wrong too?
Yeah.
Oh, bringing a glove to a baseball game or getting one signed?
Just bringing one to a game. Like if you're out in, let's just say, left field.
I don't think so.
Oh, it's lame. If you're an adult bringing a glove to a game, you are lame. There's only one exception.
Wow.
One exception. And that's if, for instance,
someone's going to maybe hit $1 million home run ball that's going to be worth more. Oh, okay. So as long as it revolves around greed, then you're okay with it.
Pretty much. Unfortunately,
wow, that is one of the lamest.
That's the only reason I could ever imagine. Like, I would look at somebody and go, like, okay, I understand why you're an adult and you brought a glove. I don't necessarily agree with it, but if there's a chance to get an extremely valuable souvenir, I kind of understand it. Otherwise, I look at people and this is just me in general. I look at people with jerseys with their own name on the back. I laugh at them, and I look at people adults who bring gloves to games, and I kind of laugh at them. maybe
Why
it's just
exactly
me, but
though? Why exactly?
it just
do
seems
you
like
feel
such a lame thing to do. You're an adult. You can catch it with your hand.
Like, because you should try and catch a ball with your face,
Yes, in your mouth,
your hat,
in your
or
mouth,
with your glasses. Like, what?
just the fact that you're bringing. I think just the fact that you brought a glove in general to the game and brought it inside the stadium. If you're outside playing catch, whatever. But just bringing a glove inside of a stadium seems like the lamest thing for an adult.
Huh? Okay. I'm glad to know you're that.
I also think that if you're an adult and you're trying to hang over the side to catch a home run ball, you're kind of lame. That's a kid's thing.
Even if it's worth $1 million.
If it's worth $1 million, that's different. I mean, I'm sorry, but it is. There's a lot of things that are different when money comes to a price.
So if my favorite player of all time, Ryne Sandberg, hit what could have been his last home run, so maybe by no real stretch has any major value out there,
sure,
to maybe anyone than Ryne himself. Mm-hmm. You think it'd be lame if I was aggressively trying to catch that ball, maybe even with a glove. But if it's Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa or who's ever,
if their 70th home run ball,
of the year, then it's okay to bring a glove, and it's okay,
kind of,
to go after.
I think Kyle, you says it right. Barehand it like a man.
Yeah,
I'm just saying the odds of you, like I said again, the odds of you getting a home run ball are minimal. But on top of that. For most,
they increase with a glove, don't they?
They probably do.
Is that fair to say?
Probably do. But again, I'm also of the understanding that it bothers me to watch adults, like if a home run ball is kind of going to be hit or it looks like it's hit, that get up out of their things and run towards the edge. Like that's something for kids. If you happen to catch one, you give it to a kid.
What if there's no kids nearby?
It's a baseball game. There's always a kid nearby.
Wow.
If
right.
That's just what I.
So as long as there's plenty of greed involved, then you're good with it.
If there's plenty of greed that has the opportunity, that I make an exception. Yes, hands down. I can understand. I still wouldn't do it personally, but at least I'll look at him and go, I get why you're doing it. I don't understand why a grown man or even a grown woman brings a glove.
All right, so let's take it a step further, or maybe it's not even further, a side step to it. You bring in a glove exclusively with the intent, because maybe you're sitting in a place where you're probably not catching a ball anyway, like right behind home plate. But sure, you bring in a glove with the exclusive intent of having your favorite MLB player sign it before the game.
No, there's no problem with that. I've got no problem with that. If you're looking for like a souvenir or something, or someone, you're there for batting practice and the guys are walking by and they're signing stuff and you want a glove signed, I got no problem with that. Why would it? It's the people that show up with gloves like expecting to catch things. Like, give me a break.
Okay. I'm just trying to clarify
that's fine. And I understand people may not agree with me, and I'm okay with that.
That's fine. Speaking of random sports, I feel like I should have mentioned this at some other point, but I guess it didn't matter. I mean, there's only so much time. I don't want to say subjected. That sounds derogatory. I experienced my first ever, and I know this is going to blow some minds, my first ever Joe Rogan Experience podcast today.
Oh, I've listened to everybody. Whenever anyone says, "Hey, I'm looking for a new podcast," listen to you. Inevitably, you get 12 people that say Joe Rogan, and
of course, and that's fine.
And I get it. And he has a very popular podcast, and I've listened to 2 or 3 of them. In general, he kind of gets on my nerves a little bit.
Okay.
I don't mind the podcast. Like I said, I have literally 20 other podcasts I listen to, and he's just not. If I had less podcasts, I may listen to him. But
all right, so
what did you think?
I'm curious as to if you had to get, and this is depending on what Google list you use. I'd be curious to know where he ranks in the top podcasts.
Oh, he's got to be in the top 5 for sure.
And I mean, I think I Googled top podcasts, and
yeah, I mean,
it's broken up by category. Wait a minute. this under discussion category, Another Round podcast. I don't think that's the. Did they steal somebody else's name?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, they're all.
So I'd be curious.
And it depends on what you're looking for. Like, I'm looking at this particular list from BuzzFeed, and they've got, obviously, they're looking at different types of podcasts. Maybe not so much ones that. Oh, these are 22 podcasts you should be subscribing to, because probably you're already subscribing to like Mark Maron's WTF, Joe Rogan, Adam Carolla. I'm trying to think. Serial, This American Life. Freakonomics, probably. Like, those are some of the Prairie Home Companion, maybe. Those are like some of the biggest podcasts on the planet. And yeah.
Anyway, so what I was just going to quickly, and I'll move away from it because I feel like it could be another conversation for another day. But I specifically downloaded the one because one of my favorite people and influencers in Gary Vaynerchuk was on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan. And it was interesting to see the difference between the two. Again, Gary knowing more of Joe than Joe knew of Gary, which is totally understandable and in the right circles for the right reasons, but yet how removed, it was just really interesting. There was a lot of interesting things, and there was also a lot of negativity from the 2 minutes of YouTube comments that I could see. A lot of negativity regarding Gary's visit and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, anyway, I guess the point was I downloaded it. It was an hour and 45 minutes, as I learned tonight from my travel buddy and our cameraman, Chad, that apparently there's not a set format in terms of the timing of his podcast, which obviously is, I feel, applicable to us, and that, we kind of are in that 2 to 4 hour time range. And it sounds as if Joe Rogan is, and maybe it's just with individuals, his could go a given amount of time. This one happened to be an hour and 45 minutes. I felt like there was a part of it where it was really slow and it could have just flat out been ended, but then I feel like it picked up in other parts.
Oh gosh, I don't know any other podcast
because
like that.
I watched it for a totally different reason than I was there as a Gary fan, not as a Joe Rogan fan. But it was interesting to see what many deem is one of the most popular podcasts in the world. And so it was interesting during my plane ride this morning.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that. I almost forgot. There's Radio Lab, Stuff You Should Know. Trying to think of some of the other really big ones. You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes. I mean, those are pretty much the ones I rattled off. Those are pretty much the biggest podcasts in the world right now.
So, anyway, kind of interesting. I think for another day, I'd love to have more conversation about people's thoughts and formats and different things that can be done. I mean, they clearly, I feel like, had no set outline whatsoever, and which is great and fine. And just, again, the lulls, and I don't know who did or didn't want to end it, and I don't know. It was interesting because Gary Vaynerchuk is social media. He's so many things, and then I think of Joe Rogan, who has all this success but doesn't. I don't feel like he possibly takes advantage of some of the very simple things that Gary's life revolves around. And I don't know. There were some really interesting things within there. So if anybody on here listening watched it or listened to it, I'd be curious. That you can actually put on my wall and on Facebook and give me some interest feedback.
Yeah, right now the real popular podcasts, like there's a whole segment that's super popular, is murder stories, murder mysteries. Basically, after the whole serial thing, a lot of those took off. Like, there's one that's called like "What's My Favorite Murder," where the people tell stories about either serial killers or a murder they know. It's really weird and creepy, and I can't imagine. Yeah, but they're super popular right now. So, it's yeah.
Okay. All right, Johnny. I don't know if you have much else. I don't have anything else pressing or critical here. The night is young. It's 9:45 in Vegas.
Yeah, it's 11:45 here.
Something about that sounds great. I don't know what, but something about it does.
So what you're saying is we need to move out west and do our podcast so that we're done earlier?
No, or just that it's I'm in Vegas and it's 9:45.
Well, whatever.
Maybe it's that. I don't know. All right. Well, I think we can wrap this up. We appreciate everyone for tuning in, of course, for our after show, as well as our regular show, as many of you did. Thank you to our Patreon winner, who was, again, the name was, Johnny? Do you have that handy?
Let me pull it up. Matthew Norton.
Matthew Norton, thank you so much, as well as the rest of our Patreon supporters. Again, if you want to be eligible for a giveaway, the weekly giveaways, all you have to do is contribute in any capacity whatsoever, anything that you see fit. We had a few people sign up as recently as tonight, so thank you guys for doing that, and we'll try and keep putting out content for you. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, for Chad, who's hanging out in the room ready to get going on this week, for Gary to the who's going to be showing up later this week, and for everyone here at the Gentlemen's Club, we look forward to check in with you a little later. We'll see you guys for sure on Saturday for our live broadcast. I'll look for the information to get released this week on both Spin TV as well as our SmashBoxxTV channels, so you can tune in live and watch as the Gentlemen's Club Challenge concludes, taking place on Saturday and Sunday. For Johnny and Terry, the disc golf guy, we'll see you guys later on this week when you step inside the Smashbox.
Peace.